And welcome to the Board of County Commissioners Board Meeting of July 2nd, 2024. And if I could have Cheyenne of the clerk's office do the roll call at this time.
Commissioner Barnett. Commissioner Baxter.
Here.
Commissioner Bernard.
Here.
Vice Mayor Marino.
Here.
Mayor Sachs.
Here.
Commissioner Weiss.
Here.
Commissioner Woodward. Thank you.
Good. We have a quorum. And for the invocation, if who would like to do the prayer today? I think Vice Mayor Marino would like to do the prayer at this time. If we could all stand for the prayer.
Oh heavens, so off the top of my head. For those of you that can stand, thank you, please do. Bow your heads. To that which we believe in, let us give thanks to those that are around us. Let us be kind and gentle. Let us be patient. Let us be thoughtful. Let us open our minds to thoughts that are different than ours and hopefully come to the middle with a thoughtful discussion. With that, I say amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lou, you could do that off the top of your head.
How was your trip?
Very good. All right. We are going to start the agenda approval. Are there any additions, deletions, or substitutions at this time on the agenda? Ms. Baker.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board. On page 14, there's a revised motion 3E1. On page 68, this item was deleted from consent and moved to 7B1 at the end of the agenda. On page 69, 4A1 has been deleted and will be scheduled for a later date. Page 69, 4D1 also has been deleted. And on page 75, 6C1 has been deleted per request of the Historical Society. It'll come back at a later date. Page 84, 6H1 has a revised motion. That is our millage, which we just received the rates on last week. On page 86 is an add-on, which was moved from consent, as I stated, and that will, then we also have, that will conclude our additions, deletions, and substitutions.
Very good. If we could have a motion to adopt the, very good, I'll finish my sentence. Motion to adopt the agenda as modified. We have first by Commissioner Barnett, a second by Commissioner Baxter. All those for, anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. Very good. Moving on to the consent agenda, which if you're following, starts on page 11 to 68. Does anyone wish to pull anything from the consent agenda at this time? Yes, Commissioner Woodward, go right ahead.
Thank you, and I'm also here for the record. Sorry for my tardiness. I would like to pull 3G, 1, 2, and 3, starting on page 21.
Page 21?
Page 21, 3G, 1, 2, 3.
Very good. Okay, anybody else wish to pull anything from the consent agenda? I think now we go on for a vote to approve the consent agenda as modified. For that particular one? Okay, were any of them pulled? Oh, okay. So we have cards on items in the consent agenda that have not been pulled. I think at this time we should read the cards, and then we'll take a vote on the consent agenda as amended. Commissioner Weiss, as you read your name, please come to one of the...
One person.
Okay, we have 3 cards, 1 person.
Alex Larson.
And the other two
Items,
cards?
We have items 3B3, B4, and C2.
I'll be brief because it's 3 items, but it's something that I saw years ago. It has nothing to do with you, Commissioners. It started many, many moons ago. But 3B3, a lot of the contracts are out of state or out of the county. And I've always tried to be, let's bring everything home, because when you go through the agenda, the last 3, really nice, they are in Palm Beach County. The very last 3 items on 3B3 are in this county, but throughout the years, out of state, out of the county. And I know people that have seen me before have heard me say, bring it home. Because our contracts, I know we have some really intelligent people in Palm Beach County. I'm sure that we can get some of these contracts right here in our county. That's that. 3B4, used to be there were totals. And I've been out of the fray for a little while, but for many, many years, you had a total. You had a dollar amount to go by, and there's no totals in 3B4. I think you need to put the totals back of the contracts, just so people know how much it is. And then with 3C2, we're doing milling and resurfacing. We automatically went from 50 million to 70 million. We're going up because the prices are going up because of things, but maybe we need to get some really good negotiating skills and start talking to some of these vendors and people who take care of things for us for many, many years. We have taken care of these people, and it did. It went from 50 million to 70 million, and they say they're adding lanes, but we anticipated 20 million right off the top. So I just want us, because we're coming up to tax time right now, so everybody's having to tighten their belt in the county, you guys included. I'm not taking you away from the fray, but we need to do some really heavy-duty money looking at things. I mean, really good. But thank you. There you go.
Thank you, Ms. Larson. Okay, there are no other cards at this time. We have, Commissioner Weiss?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Baxter. All those for, anybody opposed, see that it passes unanimously, 7-0. We have an item that has been pulled from the consent agenda, and at this time, we're going to address it. Commissioner Woodward, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. And I know we recently had a workshop on code enforcement and compliance. Oh, talk louder. I'm sorry. Still early this morning. And these 3, all 3 of these are for settlement agreements of outstanding code enforcements. All 3 properties have either been sold or are under contract, and we're settling 2 of them at 20%, 1 at 10%. All 3 of these also have violations for open storage of trash and debris, overgrown vegetation, exterior structure in disrepair. A lot of these are code enforcement that's, let's face it, they're not good neighbors. And this went for a long time. It's been settled. And now that the properties are sold, they're settling their agreement with us. I wanted to know, what can we do about getting some of these taken care of before it gets to where they're being sold? Where are we as far as, we've managed to get all of these into compliance, but we're settling at fractions of what was agreed upon. And I just don't like the direction this is going, where it's once the properties get sold, we're settling for 10 or 20% of what was been accrued over times of years of storage of open trash, debris, derelict properties. I'd like to hear from the rest of the board. This is in consent. We're settling. What can we do to go ahead and I know at one point we did an amnesty to bring properties into compliance. All of these properties have been in compliance for a year or two. One from 21 came into compliance, but they're just now settling their agreement with us because they're selling their property. What options do we have to take care of this now and then moving forward? If you have code enforcement violations that rack up like this, you're going to have to pay, is my opinion. I would like to hear from the rest of you.
Very good. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Commissioner Baxter, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. There are several times and several instances we've come across that people didn't know that there was actually a process you had to follow. So say somebody received a notice that said, all right, you have a couch on your front porch that isn't allowed, right? That's open storage, it's not allowed. I'm giving a silly instance, but to the point of they remove the couch and they think they're done. Well then, it stays outstanding for a very long time. accruing fines because they didn't know that there was a process to finish up on. That's why I think it's so important, and I'm very grateful to our building department, code enforcement, that we're changing policies and how we address them, because I've also asked that in those notifications that they say, this is what you need to do to now be in compliance. So I think for these especially, let's give the benefit of the doubt and then see how it is going forward, because I think the information needs to be out there on how they truly need to wrap up their compliance issues.
Vice Mayor Marino.
Thank you. I have been a very long proponent of not settling for pennies on the dollar. But it also has to do with, as Commissioner Baxter said, notification and knowing what they need to do. But I know our code department is working on this because for 4 years I've been asking about this. So at this point in time, because this has been done and it's already gone to court and we've already spent enough time on it, I would see passing these today. But again, and I will reiterate, I am not in favor of these very low settlements, and it is always when somebody is selling a property. So in the future, yes, code needs to make sure people are aware and what their procedure is. But again, I'm never happy when we settle like this because it sends a message out to everybody. You can be out of compliance for however long you want, and we're going to settle for pennies on the dollar. So in the future, I would like to see something a little higher. Sherry, sorry. You know how I feel about this. We've had this discussion for 4 years. But I agree with what's been said here, and thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bernard, you're recognized.
Well, Sherry, I'm the opposite. So I know for me, it's just that code enforcement is supposed for you to get the chance to bring your property up into compliance. And, I'm not for us to charge someone hundreds of thousands of dollars. So in that way, it fills the county's coffers. These are people's property. And, you should get a chance to bring it up to code and for us to use the magistrate to get the chance to settle. Every situation is different. Some may be 10%, 20%, or 50%, whatever it is, but I just think that we should continue the rules should be always to bring your property into compliance and not to use the code enforcement to basically take people's property. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss?
Thank you. So I think part of what my understanding of potentially why some of this happens at the time of sale is, quite frankly, people don't have the cash to pay for these fines. And so it happens at the time of sale because there is an influx of funds that come into to that property. And so I think that's potentially why we see them not being settled sooner. And why, plus I think it's just out of sight, out of mind. I agree with you, though, the concern is valid that we have folks that, through their lack of consideration or care, their neighbors have to live next to properties that are in disrepair, and that's not fair to them, and I understand it. So it's a tough. This is a difficult problem, but I think in general, most of the times that I've seen these come through, they are 10, 20% on the dollar, but they also tend to be significant amounts of money. I think I agree with colleagues that give it a little time. We've got some new policies that we've implemented. Let's see if those help. But I do share your concern. I would hate to live next door, and I know most of us would. to people that are not taking care of their property and leaving trash out and in their yard and so forth. And it's certainly, I mean, we've got one fellow that's been writing to us for months about his neighbor with livestock that they're not supposed to have. And, you know, it's unfortunate it has to go through the process, and some people are more, well, willing to cooperate, others are not, and I think the willingness to cooperate says a lot. That in many of these cases, in these 3 cases, I think they fixed some of the things, some things did not get fixed right away, and so the fines accrued. But that's my thoughts on this.
Thank you. And now Vice Mayor Marino, and then we're going to close with Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you. Sherry, in the history of doing this, how many people's houses have we taken? I know you probably can't, none. Okay, so that's off the table. I know that's people are afraid their houses are going to get taken. That's not what we're doing. We're trying to bring people into compliance for health and safety reasons. Is that correct? And
We want them in
Well,
compliance.
hold on,
yes, yeah.
go ahead.
Yes, we want the properties in compliance, and some people immediately, that's the thing you don't see, is that almost everybody who has a violation, and you might know the percentages, Cindy, you know, they fix their houses before it ever gets to the point of being a fine. It's just unfortunate that you only see the ones that have been out there for a long time. They didn't go to the code hearings or to the magistrate hearings a lot of the times, or they didn't get it fixed by the time period. So that's what you're seeing here.
So again, we haven't taken anybody's house.
No.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. And just to close this out with staff, what is the process as far as, what does it take for a property to actually get to daily fines? That's not our first action. There's a whole process before we get to daily fines. Just briefly, if you could.
Sure, short story, probably 2 steps to it. If there's a complaint, officer goes out and looks at it. They'll give property owner time to fix it. Not fixed, they'll issue the NOV, give them more time to fix it. If it's not achieved by that time, then it goes to the magistrate. The magistrate will allow additional time to do it. So there's a fair bit of time before fines would start running. They will only begin to accrue after the magistrate's time deadline has not been met.
Okay, so, and I understand in the past, we did have some problems with communication. Maybe people didn't understand what it took to close out their compliance. So I will go ahead and make the motion for these 3 because the settlements have been reached and we can go for that. But I would like to know, moving forward, how many, because these go back to 2018, 2019, these are years old. So what we're doing now, moving forward, the changes that we've made, that's going to be on current properties. The ones that are out there right now, I would like to know, do we have some form of communicating with these people? However many we have, I don't even know how many properties that we have outstanding. And the reason, honestly, that these get settled when they're sold is because we have a lien on their property. They can't sell until they settle with us. So yeah, they're gonna find the cash in the sale to pay. And it's not about getting the money. I would rather them come into compliance and we get this off the books instead of it lingering for years and then it gets tied up in court. This costs all of us money. Taxpayers are paying for this. The property owners or whoever ends up with this, you know, inheritance, they're going to pay for it. I'd rather find a way for us to clean these off the books, and all of the new policies that we've put in place moving forward, that's going to change things. But moving forward, what can we do to communicate with everyone who has outstanding balances? This is something you can bring back to us. To, you know, if we need to send out letters, put a window, give 90 days, 6 months, whatever it is, how do we clean this up? And then moving forward, we have our new policies.
Let me just say this in deference to Commissioner Woodward. Could you give us, all of us, the policy? I want to know what the policy is. Some people get 10%, some people get 20%. Some people, we wait until the very end, and then we put a lien on the house. Some people, we go ahead and try to take the house right away. I know there's a policy. So,
We don't take that. We don't take houses. We don't take houses.
or buildings, or children, or livestock, or who knows, you know? It could be a lien, you know, we could, maybe, you know, it might be. But anyways,
If you would like us to start foreclosing, we could look at
well,
that,
no.
but we
what
have
I-
not ever done that.
One is, no, let's, please, please. Could you send us the policy to all 7 commissioners so that we know next time down the road why we have this on a consent, and that we followed a policy for the whole county on how we lien or not lien or take to court or forgive 10% on one and 20% on the other. So, and we don't need to go into a long discussion on it today, but you can certainly, and it's public record, if you could send us the policy of our county with regard to this to these code compliance, that would be appreciated. Okay? Thank you. And you wanted to be the first to make the motion. Very good. Do we have a second? A second from Commissioner Baxter. All those for, anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. That takes care of the consent agenda. Thank you so much, folks. And moving on to special presentations, which is found on page 69. And we're going to go like this. We're going to proceed as follows. We're going to have District 1 take whichever podium you want. And District 2 will take the other podium, and we'll go ahead and proceed to our special presentations, which is my favorite part of the agenda. District 1, you're recognized.
Thank you. We are going to be declaring July 1st through 7th as Clean Beaches Week, so I have a list, but I'm sure there's more. So, Tammy Fields, Deb Drum, Jen Cirillo, Paul Connell, Chris Korbalak, Katie Tobin, Friends of Jupiter Beach. Mary, I haven't seen you in ages. How are you? Mary Aguirre. Lost my place. Sea Turtle Adventures, Loggerhead Marine Life, Pura Vida Divers, and anyone else that wants to come and enjoy our beaches.
Yeah.
Thank you for being all being here this morning. This is a proclamation of the Board of County Commissioners declaring July 1st through 7th, 2024 as Clean Beaches Week. Whereas Clean Beaches Week is recognized annually across the nation to spread awareness regarding the effects of pollution on marine life, oceans, and coastal habitat. And whereas Palm Beach County beaches have long been the source of enjoyment, wildlife conservation, and economic impact, cited by visitors as the #1 tourist destination. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners provides 16 public beach parks and strives to ensure that the Palm Beach County beaches are well cared for to ensure a benefit to wildlife and people alike. And whereas the Parks and Recreation and Environmental Resources Management Departments work collaboratively with the community to ensure trash and other pollutants are removed from our beaches, while environmentally beneficial beach racks remain, and I had to look that word up, but you're going to explain it. Thank you. Whereas individuals and nonprofit partners throughout our community contribute to clean beaches by utilizing self-directed beach bucket foundation stations and by hosting organized cleanups for all ages, offering community service hours for school. And whereas beaches and coastal dune systems are essential and adaptable infrastructure, making our communities more resilient in the face of natural disaster and climate impacts. And whereas clean beaches help promote the continued success of turtle nesting season and our local tourism industry. And whereas by caring for the beach and keeping it clean, picking up litter washed ashore, carrying off what we carry onto a beach, leaving nothing behind, and encouraging others to do so, we are all making a positive impact for Palm Beach County and the planet. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County, Florida, assembled in regular session on the 2nd day of July 2024, that July 1st through 7th, 2024 in Palm Beach County is hereby proclaimed Clean Beaches Week.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Good morning, Mayor, Commissioners, Administrator Baker. I'm Jennifer Cirillo, the Director of Parks and Recreation for Palm Beach County. With me is Deb Drum. She's the Director of Environmental Resources Management, or ERM, for the county. And we have some very special guests with us today who work tirelessly to keep our 16 county beaches and 47 miles of Atlantic coastline and the Lake Worth Lagoon beaches clean. Proclaiming National Clean Beaches Week here in Palm Beach County is an opportunity for us to highlight how important picking up litter on the beaches and also leaving beach rack, which is beneficial seaweed and other natural materials on our beaches. It's very important to leave that because it supports the beach ecosystem, wildlife, and our dune system as well. These are some of the unsung heroes here with us today at Palm Beach County Beach Litter Reduction, adding to our daily maintenance that we do in the parks. And it really does take an entire community to care about this. So we have Friends of Jupiter Beach, Mary Aguilar, we introduced. And we have Sea Turtle Adventures. These are also sea turtle monitors in our park system. Kaylee Gucker, Dina Chaklas, are you in the back there? Loggerhead Marine Life Center, who are amazing partners, are in one of our parks, Loggerhead Park. So Megan Boone's here. She's a turtle monitor. She was up 6:36 this morning monitoring the turtles. And they also do organized cleanups. Pure Vita Divers, Shayna Phelan, the co-owner, and Julie Blair are here. They're amazing. So they're adopted park partners at Phil Foster Park. They not only organize cleanups, but they dive in the water and do underwater cleanups as well, which is incredible. And Andy Abbott, who, if you don't know Andy, he created the Beach Bucket Foundation for self-directed cleanups throughout our park system. And Andy is amazing. Oh, you're right here. Hey, Andy. He's an amazing guy. Did a prototype in one of our parks many years ago, and now they're throughout the coast of Florida, not just in Palm Beach County, private condos everywhere. So if you see a bucket on a beach, borrow it, clean some stuff up while you're there. It really means a lot. And we know there are people listening today that every day of their lives walk our county beaches, and they pick up stuff when they're there, doing their part as well, because it's the right thing to do, and it continues to wash on shore, unfortunately. But we are incredibly appreciative of everyone who does their part. So as a reminder, please take a moment to think about how we can do our part to carry off what we carry on to beaches. With the busy 4th of July holiday coming up, that's really important. Use designated trash receptacles and also monofilament, which is fishing line, recycling tubes where available. Eliminate or reduce the use of single-use plastics and polystyrene foam, which is the most frequently found thing on our beaches. Don't dispose of cigarette butts on the beach. Find alternatives to balloons outdoors so they don't accidentally or purposely become environmental hazards, because they do look like jellyfish, and turtles will unfortunately eat them. And to learn more about organized beach cleanups with these groups or more, visit any one of their websites or go to pbcparks.com and sign up as a volunteer. We'd love to see you there. And thank you for your time and attention, and thank you, Vice Mayor, for National Clean Beaches Week. Oh, we have some beach bucket and props. These are pickers that you actually can borrow to pick up litter on the beaches when you volunteer for the cleanups.
Thank you. While they're taking their pictures, I'm going to ask, I've asked Commissioner Barnett to join me, and I'll also ask Commissioner Bernard to join me if he gets back into chambers. But I'd like to call up Tanya Johnson, Frank Hayden, and Ryan Dobson to receive this proclamation. And anyone else that you all have brought with you, I should say. So, good morning. Thanks for being here. All right, we are declaring August 2024 as National Black Business Month, so we're getting a jump on it early. Whereas Black Business Month was started in 2004 as an initiative to celebrate Black-owned businesses and their impact on local and national economies. And whereas August is observed as National Black Business Month, recognizing the contributions and progress of Black businesses and entrepreneurs. And promoting and supporting Black-owned businesses helps to close the wealth gap and encourages growth of local communities as well as the economy. Whereas Black businesses have made enormous contributions to Palm Beach County's economic infrastructure, and Palm Beach County supports the development, economic growth, and retention of local businesses and provides resources through opportunities, advocacy, education, and outreach. And whereas Palm Beach County and the Office of Equal Business Opportunity work toward inclusion and growth for Black-owned enterprises, and whereas there are currently 224 Black-owned certified OEBO SMWBEs, 105 are Black female-owned, and 119 are Black male-owned. And whereas the Palm Beach County Board of County Commissioners is pleased to join in celebrating National Black Business Month.
Good morning, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board. Thank you, Commissioner Weiss, for this proclamation. I would like to introduce Mr. Frank Hayden. He is the immediate past president of the Black Chamber of Commerce. Ms. Leontine Brown, she's a current board member. And then joining us is Mr. Ryan Dobson. He's one of our certified SMBEs who is doing well in the program. So on behalf of them all, we'd like to say thank you for this recognition and this acknowledgement. Mr. Hayden?
Thank you very kind. Madam Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Benita Baker, and thank you all so very much for this recognition. We work very hard in Palm Beach County to help small and minority businesses have opportunities. And I think we've done an excellent job here in terms of making that happen, but it would not happen without the support of each and every one of you on this commission to allow us this opportunity to help the small and minority business. And so this reward will go up on our wall. We're truly appreciative. And on behalf of the Black Chamber, thank you so very much.
Okay, while they take their picture, could I have Rob Sweeten, Susie Sweeten, and their children, John, Mackenzie, and Addison, please come forward? We're actually going to wait just one moment because Commissioner Barnett's going to join me for this one. So, thank you. We waited for Commissioner Barnett. Mr. Sweeten is a teacher at Boca High School, and when he found out that we were going to be showcasing artwork from his classes, wanted to let me know he was a former student. So, did you want to say anything real quick?
It's been 30 years. Nice to see you again, Professor. I was so honored to be able to stand with Commissioner Woodward to honor you here today. I remember, I think it was your first year, 1994?
93, 94, yeah.
93, 94. I remember sitting in the first row of your class. It was one of my favorite classes. I remember that it actually trained me pretty well for the college algebra I took in my first attempt at college before I had to drop out for poor grades. The only A's that I got in college, my first attempt, were in math and college algebra, and I remembered back to your teachings, and I appreciate it. Very nice to be with you again, sir. Thank you.
So today we are declaring July 2nd, 2024 as Rob Sweeten Day. Whereas Rob Sweeten has dedicated 31 years of his career to educating, inspiring, and mentoring nearly 6,000 students at Boca Raton High School. And whereas he has demonstrated exceptional leadership and dedication as the head boys and girls volleyball coach, assistant girls soccer coach, and track coach, contributing to over 50 sports seasons. And whereas Rob Sweeten has gone above and beyond by sponsoring clubs, including Fellowship of Christian Athletes, robotics, the school newspaper, and various class sponsorships, fostering a sense of community and engagement among students. And whereas he has been recognized for his excellence in education through 4 nominations for the prestigious Dwyer Award. And whereas Rob Sweeten made a significant career transition 16 years ago to teach photography, enriching the creative and academic experiences of his students. And whereas he has shown remarkable initiative by founding the first Tech Challenge robotics team at Boca Raton High School and has collaborating with the Cox Science Center and Aquarium to establish a new robotics league for Palm Beach County. And whereas our community recognizes, lifts up, and celebrates teachers for their dedication and hard work in motivating students to forge ahead and take advantage of all possibilities afforded to them. And whereas Rob Sweeten's influence extends beyond the classroom, with his students' artwork being displayed in my office, District 4, here's some examples they're holding here today, with students from his AP classes. And teachers like Rob Sweeten change lives through their dedication, passion, and tireless efforts, making a profound impact on students throughout the county. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County, Florida, assembled in regular session on this day of July, 2nd day of July 2024, that July 2nd, 2024, in Palm Beach County is hereby proclaimed Rob Sweeten Day.
My dad knows his limits, and that's talking about something that he loves in front of people. So I'm going to be reading his speech. Hello, thank you so much for this honor. 31 years is a long time to be doing one job at one location. Go Bobcats. Students have changed. It seems a lot more complicated and difficult than when Mike was in my class. First, I would like to thank God for giving me a heart for people and young people in particular. I am messed up like everyone else, but somehow he still touches me. Well, he still uses me to touch the lives of young people. I never played a varsity sport, but I have coached more at Boca High in the last 30 years than anyone. I got kicked out of advanced art in 5th grade because he wouldn't draw anything else than race cars. But I teach more AP 2D students than any school in the county. I have asthma, but was able to breathe life into an athlete who had a medical emergency. God is bigger than my weaknesses. I want to thank my wife for being a partner in life and in work. She has always helped when needed, and when I stay after to coach when she is home with our children. I want to thank John, Mackenzie, and Addison for loving me even when I'm distracted, grading, or anxious waiting on test results. My wife and my kids get the leftovers when I'm tired from working with other people's children, which I think are pretty great leftovers. I wish my parents could have seen this. Although they did not have much formal education, they were great at teaching people. My mom was the first female photographer of the Philadelphia Flyers, Phillies, and Eagles, because my dad taught her and believed in her. I want to thank the principals and colleagues who have supported me and the kids who sometimes drive me crazy but also give me energy, the past students who I see and tell me a story that I don't even remember, how I said a word to them and it made a difference in their life. Thank you, God, and bless the work that you do.
Thank you.
All right, while they're taking their picture, I'm going to ask Will Romulus and team to join me. Did you guys bring the lights and the speakers? We're ready. I think everybody's ready to move. All right. We are declaring July 17th, 2024 as the 13th annual Kids Fit Jamathon. Whereas Kids Fit Jamathon, hosted by Digital Vibes, is an innovative, interactive, concert-like experience for youth that motivates and inspires them to dance, stay fit, and live healthy lives. And in 2010, Digital Vibes was founded to reach out to underserved youth in Palm Beach County by mentoring them through dance fitness, technology, and the arts. Whereas Digital Vibes, Inc. has developed partnerships with local after-school programs, community-based organizations, and summer camp programs that serve thousands of children each year. And Digital Vibes serves all children in Palm Beach County and some neighboring communities. Digital Vibes has hosted events such as Let's Move PBC and programs such as wellness workshops, fitness jams, and digital expressions where children can express themselves by producing music videos. And Kids Fit Jamathon is the largest kids dance fitness concert in the nation. Wow, right here. Whereas Digital Vibes offers one of the largest summer camp programs in Palm Beach County, has gained a national social media following, and provided the choreography and participated in the production of a viral dance TikTok video that had over 42 million views. Yep. And whereas Digital Vibes will host its largest event yet this year with dance fitness, healthy activities, snacks, and dance performances by local students, where the winners of competitions will take home, get this, cash prizes. We acknowledge the exceptional service of Digital Vibes has provided to the county's youth for more than 14 years. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County, Florida, assembled in regular session on the second day of July 2024, that July 17th, 2024 in Palm Beach County is hereby proclaimed 13th Annual Kids Fit Jamathon.
Wow. Thank you so much, Commissioner Wise. Thank you so much to all the leaders, commissioners, Vice Mayor, and our Mayor, Virginia Baker. I love the smile. Yes. This proclamation basically means that our leaders truly understand that obesity is skyrocketing and something needs to be done about it. And the furnitures that we have, the sofas, the couches, for some odd reason, it's very, very comfortable. It's really hard to get our kids off the couch, off the video games. But Digital Vibes, we always trying to find a way to get our kids off the couch for at least 30 minutes or so. And that's being done through our various programs. And the program that we're talking about today is the Kids Fit Jamathon. The Kids Fit Jamathon, it's more like a concert-like vibe where we get our kids up and moving. Thousands of kids under one roof celebrating, they're having fun. We have the robots. We have the 15,000 square feet bounce house, which they're gonna be, having a great time in. We have the confetti, the lighting, the DJ. To all of the kids, it's a big party. But when it's all said and done, we tricking them to exercise, to stay active. So that's what it's all about. And I truly appreciate Palm Beach County Youth Services for being behind this from the get-go. And same thing with Primetime of Palm Beach County for being behind Kids Fit Jamathon. This is our 13th year doing it, and it's grown to be the largest Kids Fit concert in the whole nation. So we truly appreciate you guys for standing behind this and to get our kids up and moving and being active. And that's what it's all about. Thank you so much to our team. We have a fantastic team here. They're phenomenal mentors that go throughout Palm Beach County and mentoring our kids, getting our kids moving. And I'm proud to say that Digital Vibe is currently serving 107 after-school programs throughout Palm Beach County. And we are striving to move from county to county, and we just recently expanded to Martin County. So Digital Vibe is definitely growing, and we truly appreciate that Palm Beach County is the route that's causing us to really spread our wings. So thank you so much for that.
Okay, moving right along. If I could have Tammy K. Fields, Assistant County Administrator, come up. Jennifer Cirillo, who's our Director of Parks and Recreation. Jackie Applebaum, Special Olympics Athletic Director. Terrence Freelove, Special Olympics Athletic Leader. Alma Johnson, Arts for All Artist. Jackie Lambert, Recreation Program Supervisor. Rich Fleming, Special Olympics, Palm Beach County Director, Recreation Specialist. Paul Connell, Deputy Director, Parks and Recreation. And Gladys Wiggum, Administrative Assistant. Are we ready for this? This is going to declare July 2024, the entire month, as Park and Recreation Month. Whereas the Palm Beach County Parks and Recreation Department is celebrating 52 years of providing healthy, happy living to everyone in our community. And whereas communities with successful park systems, such as those that we have in our county, provide opportunities for all residents to conveniently connect with the outdoors. And whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near and visit our parks. And whereas Parks and Recreation increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, attraction and retention of business, and proactive crime reduction. Whereas Parks and Recreation is fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community, providing a place for wildlife to thrive and access for all people to connect with nature and outdoor recreation. And whereas Palm Beach County recognizes the essential benefits derived from Parks and Recreation resources and our National Gold Medal Award-winning Parks and Recreation Department team, now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County, Florida, assembled in regular session on the second day of July 2024, that the entire month of July is hereby proclaimed Parks and Recreation Month. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. Proclaiming July as Parks and Recreation Month is an opportunity for our community and local leadership to officially acknowledge the importance of Parks and Recreation, the benefits it provides to people that you serve. This year's theme is Where You Belong, and we want to be clear that everyone belongs in Palm Beach County Parks. So July 19th is Parks and Recreation Professionals Day. We have some fine professionals here with us today. Including Rich Fleming, who, by the way, was inducted into the Palm Beach County Sports Hall of Fame along with Vice Mayor Marino this year. So congratulations to Rich. Runs our entire Special Olympics program for more than 30 years. So we appreciate him very much. And then we have people working right now throughout our county in our parks as we speak, providing free and affordable opportunities for healthy, happy living for everyone. But because parks are for everyone, we did want to introduce you to a few of our participants today that use our parks on a regular basis. And we have Terrence Freelove, a Special Olympics athlete leader, and he's showcasing some of his medals. He told me he participates in many sports. I can't remember them all, but basketball I know, and surfing. So if you want to catch up with Terrence, I know he and his coach surf at Lake Worth Beach. So we appreciate that. And Alma Johnson, who's an Arts for All artist, a fine artist. So Alma, thank you for being here. And then I want to introduce Jackie Applebaum, a Special Olympics athlete leader who will say a few words about Parks and Recreation Month. Jackie.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jacqueline Applebaum. Thank you for having me join you this morning to say a few words about Special Olympics Florida. Special Olympics Palm Beach County. Special Olympics Palm Beach, how much Special Olympics Palm Beach County, Florida. Special Olympics Palm Beach, how much county government and county parks have meant to all Special Olympians. I am proud to be in the Special Olympics Athlete Leadership Program. Being a part of the Special Olympics Florida and Palm Beach County means so much, not just to me, but to all athletes who participate across Palm Beach County. For me, I've made a lot of friends and learned a lot of skills and had incredible experiences that will stay with me for the rest of my life. I participate in a number of Special Olympic sports. Swimming, adaptive sailing, and paddleboarding are just a few that call for the valuable recreational facilities and provided by Palm Beach County. But it's more than just sports. It's the social and leisure activities that mean so much to all of us, and we can't do it without Palm Beach County facilities. Thank you all for your support of these programs. It means everything. Without it, I wouldn't have been able to have this success with my athlete leadership skills and becoming a global messenger for Special Olympics Florida. No matter what your disability is, there's always something for everyone, and there is always an opportunity for everyone at Parks Recreation Center. It's where we belong. It's where we all belong. Thank you.
Everybody, come on. Slatters, you got a space there? Here we go. 1, 2. That's the best part of our program, by the way. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating in this. We're going to move right on, and before I do, I'd like to recognize Senator Bobby Powell is in the house. Good to see you again, Senator. Of course, we always have our former Senator, Joe Abruzzo, here with us in the house. Good to see you, Joe. Okay. Yes. And Senator Bernard. Boy, we could do well with the state here having a Senate meeting, right? Probably better than others. Anyways, let's move on to public hearings. Let me see.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to receive and file proof of publication.
Very good. And we have a second with Commissioner Woodward. Are those for? Anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. Very good. Now, we're going to go on to our regular agenda, which is found, continues on page 71, and this is on airports. What did I miss? Yes. Actually, we're going to skip airports for now and go right into public hearings on public safety, which is 5A1, which is on the page 70. Mr. you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Administrator Baker. This morning, we're here to request an adoption of a proposed amendment to the Adult Entertainment Code, specifically related to 17-153 Work Identification Card and 17-196 Minors Prohibited Employment. The amendment is necessary to conform to new state law that was signed by the governor on May 13th of this year. Also, when we came to the Board of County Commissioners on June the 11th of this year, the Board of County Commissioners directed staff to incorporate as part of the changes of this a human trafficking awareness video as a requirement for adult entertainers to obtain a work ID badge. That is included in the amendment that is before you today. And the item was presented to you on the 11th of June. It was approved on preliminary reading with permission to advertise the public hearing scheduled for today. And I know that we did some of the presentation for you at the last meeting, but if it's okay with you, maybe we'll just skip to 2 pages in this presentation to just show you the incorporated changes that we have in there. If you go to page 9 of the PowerPoint, which we have up on the screen, we have included a human trafficking awareness video as a requirement for adult entertainers to obtain their work ID badge. They will do that on premises at Consumer Services. We consulted with the Palm Beach County Human Trafficking Task Force, and it was determined that what is human trafficking? This is a video that's produced by the United States Department of Homeland Security. It's available in multiple languages and is part of the Blue Campaign, and that will be what will initially be used as the video for this particular effort. Also, I did want to point out, per direction of the BCC, on pages 18 and 19 in terms of our signage, it was asked of us for multiple languages to be incorporated as part of the signage that we did. This first slide, 18, shows English, Spanish, and Creole, but on the next slide, on page 19, per the mayor's request and the boards, we've included Mandarin Chinese, Korean, and Thai as also languages that the signage will be available throughout Palm Beach County. And so those are some of the highlighted changes that we've included as part of this. And we can certainly go back and provide any more detail about the ordinance or a more extensive presentation if the board wishes.
Todd, I just want to say thank you to my colleagues because we took an opportunity to enhance the message to those who work in that industry. And to really to the entire state of Florida, through this county, that we insist that these messages be sent and addressed by those who like to work in that industry. So I'm proud of my colleagues. We added to the state law, and I'm very happy that it happened. And thank you for the work that you've done on this and connecting with the federal and state agencies against human trafficking. Thank you. And thank you, colleagues. Proud of the County Commission. So, any questions or comments by the board? Very good. I think at this point, I think just receive and file, and I think we've done that.
No, we needed a motion to adopt.
We have to motion, I guess we do have to.
Yes,
I'll make a motion to
Legalese
adopt.
things. If I could have a motion by the vice mayor. And a second by Commissioner Woodward. All those for, anybody opposed, see that it passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you again, my colleagues. Thank you again to the staff for making these changes happen. Thank you. Okay. Now we're going to move to airports. And that is on our agenda. It is 6A1. And Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't think I need a presentation on this. I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to move items 6A1A and B.
Okay, and I have a second by the vice mayor. And all those for, anybody opposed, see that it passes unanimously, 7-0.
Thank you, Mayor. On item 6A2, I would like to make a motion to approve that.
All right, and I have a second by Commissioner Baxter. All those for, anybody opposed, see that it passes unanimously, 7-0.
And lastly, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve items 6A, 3A, and B.
Very good. We have a second by the vice mayor. All those for, anybody opposed, see that it passes unanimously, 7-0. You did a great argument, Ms. Reedy. Works every time, works every time. Very good. Now it looks like we are on to 6B1, the clerk and comptroller, and our clerk, Joe Abruzzo, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Board of the County Commission. It is my pleasure to stand before you once again to report our annual financial outlook for Palm Beach County. Thank you. It is change.
Very, very nice.
Right, it's about money, precisely. But before I begin, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the point that less than 24 hours ago, by the good grace of Judge Delgado, I was able to release the Jeffrey Epstein grand jury records after 3 years of working so hard from our office. Incredible joint bipartisan effort between Representative Peggy Gossett-Seidman and Senator Tina Polsky, working with us in Tallahassee. We wrote the language in our office and advocated for it for many, many years, and we were able to release it by incredible work in a very hard case. It's the first time ever in our state's history that a grand jury record was released to the public in this manner. So,
Congratulations, Senator Abruzzo. How
Thank you, ma'am.
how can the public access that, sir?
It's right on our website, but since we are in a public hearing and it is also listed on our website, I have to say it is extremely graphic, and there is a warning on there for those who may read it. So,
Thank you for your work on that, especially since so much of it originated in this county. It is so important that it was taken care of by this county and by our good clerk. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So as we begin onto our finances, I'm going to briefly speak about checks and balances, which is our award-winning guide for the past 17 years. And that is the guide to our county finances that is delivered directly to the public in real explicit details of how our tax dollars are spent. Our goal with the guide is to help connect our taxpayers to this pertinent information without any hindrance. Okay. So this is our net position statement. The county's net position has increased this year by $364 million over last year. Higher overall revenues from property taxes and, of course, investment income were the primary drivers in this case. The countywide operating millage rate for fiscal year 2023 was 4.7150 mills, a reduction from the previous rate of 4.7815, which you know this well. You rolled back property taxes for the first time since 2012 to give our taxpayers and our homeowners a break. Kathy? This slide shows median sales prices for calendar year from 2019 to 2023. In the past 5 years, Palm Beach County has been an outlier in Florida and the nation for growing in median home prices. Last year, Palm Beach County increased its median sales price by 6.4%. The 11th consecutive year our county saw an increase in the median sales prices for a single-family home. The median home price is right now is $580,000, nearly a 60% increase from 2019. That is incredible numbers, as mentioned, not just here in the state of Florida, but throughout our entire nation. Mortgage and deeds. Unlike the median home price in Palm Beach County, the number of mortgages and deeds recorded with our office are declining. The number of mortgages shown in teal are nearing the low levels we saw in 2010 and 2011, when Palm Beach County saw thousands of homes go into foreclosure. But I would like to say that I also believe that we are seeing a massive uptick in people paying cash for homes. So that is also an indicator of why there aren't mortgages being recorded. The number of deeds shown in light green are the lowest since 2012. The decrease in mortgage and deeds means less money for Palm Beach County and the clerk's office, since we both receive a portion of money from recording fees and documents. Foreclosures. The number of foreclosure cases trended up in 2023 to 2,473 cases last year. To put that into context, there were nearly 2,200 foreclosure cases filed in 1 month in 2029, the highest level we have ever seen during our crisis. In 2009, Palm Beach County had a record 31,678 foreclosure cases. So again, we're at nearly 2,500, drastic night and day from our lowest point. This chart shows our tourist development tax. Palm Beach County collected a record $84.2 million in tourist development tax in fiscal year 2023. It is the third year that the county has seen an increase in tourist development tax collections following the pandemic decrease from 2020. The amount of tourist development tax collected in 2022 and 2023 set new records throughout Palm Beach County. Our local option gas tax. Gas tax collections rebounded from the pandemic. In fiscal year 2023, the $53.3 million in local gas tax is nearly equal to the $53.4 million collected in 2019. So we're right back on track where we were. One of my favorite slides, the investment income. Investment income hit a record, as you all know, in 2023. This chart provides a 10-year look at investment increases earned by our office, managed by the Palm Beach County investment portfolio. I am proud to report we are on track to set a new record in 2024, with our investment income projected to be at least 25% higher, so at least $215 million for this fiscal year, which ends September 30th. I will tell you as I stand here in front of you today, we have made more money than the $172 million. We broke it, what, about a couple weeks ago? A couple weeks ago, we passed the $172 million mark. So we are going to do far outpace over $200 million. I'll be reporting to you an official figure in the beginning of October. It is our goal, and we meet on it often. If I'm fortunate enough to come back here, in the 8 years that we serve, I would like to stand up in front of you and tell you we have made over $1 billion in an 8-year period for the county and for the taxpayers of Palm Beach County, which has never been done in a county. Our portfolio allocation, just for a snapshot, this was 2023. As you see, we had 77% in money markets. And by the way, when you see a lot of reports about Israel bonds, which I'll speak about in a moment, and experts saying, should you put 15% in one type of investment? I would like to remind the public, we are capped, thank God, at what we can invest. Everything is in safe investments. So we do not have all these different tools. So if you hear somebody criticizing 15%, well, we had 77% in one type of vehicle in money markets. If we could go to the current allocation as of today. So as you see the shift, we pulled from money markets to go into Israel bonds. And this is our current portfolio. We have nearly $4.6 billion invested right now. Kathy, if you can move to the next. And one other note on Israel bonds. That 15% of our portfolio pays us around $35 million a year in investment income. When I took office, 100% of our portfolio was paying $27 million. So Israel bonds is outpacing what we came into as many of us took office in 2021. This is our debt service. The slide shows Palm Beach County debt as well as the debt service payment if no new debt is added. I will pause there and say this is actually a remarkable slide in this regard. It is hard-pressed to find any large county, any large municipality that actually has any pathway to zero debt. You do not see that. So the stewards that have come before us and before you all on the county commission and after, it is truly noteworthy to point out that there is actually a path to zero debt if chosen by the county, by you all. In fiscal year 2023, the county issued 3 new non-ad valorem revenue bonds of approximately $170 million to pay for revenues for Roger Dean Stadium and other county facilities. Just wanted to point that out. So I wanted to give you a brief overview of our clerk budget since you fund partial of our budget. And I will tell you, we have one of the most unique offices in the state because we pull the majority of our funding from Tallahassee, and then of course you're funding the finance side, the comptroller side. Our office has over 1,000 different statutory duties. I act in the official capacity, or the office does, as of course the clerk to the court, the clerk to the Board of the County Commissioners, the CFO of the county, the treasurer of the county, the recorder of the county, and we run the passport office. I would submit that, especially for those up north, there's usually one person for each of those roles, but here in the state of Florida and the way we have the government, we encompass all of it. Some highlights of our office, if we could go. We had nearly 400,000 customers come in and walk in our office last year. We fielded nearly over 350,000 calls. We clerked over 315,000 court hearings, and we processed more than 4.6 million documents. And what's not on that slide, we had over 100,000 jurors that physically come in person that we take care of through the jury process as well. Okay. This is an overview of services that highlight how obviously it affects you, the Board of the County Commission. We processed over $1.3 billion in county invoices. We obviously earned those record numbers in the county portfolio. We processed 5,670 value adjustment board petitions, and we clerked 110 county meetings. On the court funding side, I will tell you that we are operating at around the same level as 2007. So we have been operating all these years equal to or below all the way to 2007. However, with the increases of population, we are working harder and processing more people than ever before, including when new judges are added. We need clerks to clerk those courtrooms, and we've been the clerks in general. We're all in one big pot together. We have been grossly underfunded, and I know you hear that all the time from many different agencies, but it's just a statistical fact. We are doing more with less. And I cannot thank our incredible staff, many who are here today, especially on the finance side. We work so hard as a team to do everything we can with what little we have. Could go to the next. Could go next. This is just a snapshot of our clerk revenue and where we receive the funding from. And our expenditures. So we operate on a $74 million budget, which is primarily salary driven of the approximately 650 men and women that work as deputy clerks or support staff. I wanted to briefly give an overview, as I always do, how I see the national outlook specifically on our debt. This is something that I watch very carefully because when we manage a portfolio of billions of dollars, what is happening worldwide and nationwide truly affects us and the rates we earn and how we handle our money. We are currently sitting on a federal debt of nearly $35 trillion. It's $34.870 trillion, the largest debt in the history of the world and any era of this earth. That's approximately $267,000 per taxpayer. The debt to GDP ratio is negative 122%, which is going to be approaching eventually the level of, let's say, Greece, which is big issues. Although I would like to leave on a positive note, I do want to bring this up. We have a federal budget of nearly $7 trillion, which is a $2 trillion deficit. So we have approaching a $35 trillion credit card bill, and we're losing $2 trillion a year every year. In the federal budget, the largest part of the budget is Medicare and Medicaid, which is about $1.7 trillion. The next largest budget before defense, which is what we're heading into, is just the interest on the debt, which will be over $1 trillion this fiscal year. Something to note, there was a 50-year agreement between Saudi Arabia and the United States where all oil revenue by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was traded and sold in US dollars, and a large portion of that money was reinvested into US treasuries. It was a 50-year deal that expired just last month. That could have severe consequences on inflation and other things if we're not able to continue some sort of trend with that. It's not widely reported, but that was one of the key cornerstone of keeping low inflation for the past 50 years, and it lapsed and expired. So I see, unfortunately, nationwide, big problems ahead when it comes to our debt and inflation. We'll see peaks and valleys like the stock market, but ultimately we're going to be in a fiscal jam. I would say around 2035, if I had to take an educated guess, the debt service is going to be so detrimental to our federal budget that it's going to affect us all. There really, in my strong opinion, there's not a clear way out of it. We could only print more money, which means inflation goes higher. We just do not have the revenue, and that's the position we're in. On the good note, we're making great money in Palm Beach County, and you have a way out of, not that you by any means, the debt that Palm Beach County has is really remarkable for what you have all done for a large county in the United States, and I applaud you, and it's a pleasure to work as your CFO and treasurer here in Palm Beach County. I'm open to any questions you may have.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Senator. Commissioner Baxter? By the way, that was a very thorough and comprehensive report that you gave us. Thank you. Commissioner Baxter.
Thank you, Mayor. I didn't necessarily want to ask questions, but just thank you. I mean, that's amazing to have that much increase in revenue in such a short period of time, and we're projected to have over 200 million. I know that last year when we were discussing millage rates, your ability to bring in an extra 160 million into this county was a huge factor in making us feel more comfortable with doing that. So thank you so much. And now over 215 million, that's outstanding. So thank you. I hope you're around for a very long time.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Commissioner Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, sir, for sobering us up some this morning with your outlook. I wanted to go back in your slide. One question I had about the foreclosures that you were showing. You were showing 3,400 in 2019, and then the dip that happened in 2020, 1 and 2, and we're climbing back up. In your opinion, do you expect some of this is due to maybe some COVID monies that came in to keep people in their homes? Are you expecting the foreclosures to climb back up to previous numbers? What's your outlook?
I believe that the interest rates are absolutely playing a role into this. We are in the midst of a changing economy, so that is going to happen. If I want to get in the micro weeds of things, as AI starts to merge in the workforce, we're going to see, I would say this could go up. This potentially could easily go up. So it's really a changing marketplace on interest rates, and the overall workforce is changing before our very eyes. Also, people, depending on their mortgages, what they got locked into, if it was a moving rate, that would, I would say, would attribute to a big portion of that as well. They were paying 2-3%, and then all of a sudden they're paying 7-8%.
So you do expect that number to continue to climb? And if I could, one follow-up. You mentioned...
But Commissioner, if I may?
Sure.
Since we are arguably the hottest property market in the country, right now, that could change. I would submit that there will always be investors who come in and grab properties. So I don't see those homes sitting vacant for very long.
Okay. That makes me a little nervous, because 2008 was a lot of investors that with no people in them. So when when the foreclosures happened, you know, we had a lot of properties that were already sitting empty and kind of throws off what we do. It's a separate, thank you for that. I did want to ask you, because you brought up the petrodollar and how we're potentially losing that status. Do you, in your opinion, is there any movement in what's happening with crypto as far as how we can do investments with that? If the petrodollar goes away, is there, I know you have to be very careful with how you invest with us, but with cryptos?
Commissioner, I appreciate the question. I personally would never come in front of the board and ever recommend investing in cryptocurrency. It is extremely risky. It is not backed. It would be, you know, that could, without getting into a long diatribe, it could really be detrimental to the county. It would potentially hurt our credit rating down the road. I would not put our money into anything that isn't safe and secure, and crypto is simply a gamble.
Thank you. I was hoping you would say that. Okay.
Miami-Dade, including allowing them to pay some of their workers in crypto, they put themselves in the hundreds of millions of dollars in a hole. So we'll never do that here in Palm Beach County, at least as long as I'm around.
Well, stick around a little bit.
Yes, it's my plan.
Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Just following up on, and I had similar questions as Commissioner Woodward, following up on the foreclosures, do you have any sense of how much of the foreclosures are commercial versus residential?
We have those statistics, but do we have them? Well, I'll get those to you.
Yeah, it'd be great if you could share with the board. That would be, and I had the same thought about the variable interest loans contributing as these went up. I was wondering, though, you know, we have received some criticism regarding our investments in Israel bonds. But I think it's important also to understand that the term of these bonds, for folks to understand, you know, how long our investment in them. Can you comment on that?
I can. The majority is in a 2-year duration. We're well into that. We have some 3-year as well. So between 2 and 3 years, they will be up for renewal. We obviously will look at what the world looks like, what the interest rates look like. I will tell you that it's one of the safest and best returns that we can make right now, which is, you know, I can't thank you enough for allowing that to occur, to raise the cap. But I will tell you, Commissioner, no one has received more criticism than me, and I'm happy to take that criticism and all day, every day. I'm proud of what they're returning. I'm proud that at the end of it, we should have about $83 million earned off of 15% of our portfolio, which is, quite frankly, really good. So happy to take the criticism. You can direct it at me, Commissioner.
And then last question for you has to do with our investment portfolio. Many of those funds have, well, all of them actually, have very specific purposes and where those funds and that interest can be used.
Yes.
And so I think it's important for the public to understand that this isn't money that just comes in, goes to the bottom line, and it just gets spent. It's very much controlled as to how and what exactly those funds can be used for. Can you go into a little detail on that?
Thank you, Commissioner. And I would be happy in the next meeting to come back with a similar chart to show that. The majority does come to you, the Board of the County Commissioners, but like the airport, et cetera, those funds are not in your specific pot, but the majority of it does come to you, but not all of it. And I would be happy to work with Administrator Baker and our team and put something together for you. So it's more clear when you look at this upcoming budget.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Mayor Marino, you're recognized.
Actually, Commissioner Weiss started the question I was going to. When we talk about our millage rate, we look at ways to offset that. And with the 200 million in interest. It would be important to know the funds where they are allocated, because of that 200 million, only maybe 20 million might be the general fund, which is what ad valorem taxes fund for our expenses. So I guess the breakdown would be what's airports, what's water utilities, what's general fund, so we know what affects the budget that we are, I mean, we say grace over the entire budget, but for the folks at home that are watching and think I'm crazy, the ad valorem taxes only fund a small about 20% of our total budget. So can you interpret what I'm asking?
I can, Commissioner, and if I could pause just for 1 second, because I want to ask a pointed question without saying something that I
No
think
worries.
is accurate, but
No.
Commissioner, I will come back next meeting and we will start sorting out through these funds and what actually you have and the power within those funds of what you can do and how you can move money around.
That's great, because when we talk about reserves, and we have the big reserve pot, which is, how much money do we have in reserves? $2 billion? But
1.8? 1.8?
Roughly.
Yeah, roughly.
Roughly. But that doesn't mean we have $2 billion in reserves that are for the general fund. It means we have $2 billion that's spread out over all of our funds, and I don't even know how many funds do we actually have. I know we have a 1,300 line item budget of expenses, so that means we have 1,300 funds, but you understand my question?
I do, Commissioner, and I concur that it would be extremely helpful for the board to see exactly where the money is, exactly where that extra income goes, and exactly what you have at your disposal as you make your decisions on millage. So we will, if the mayor, if you'll indulge me, we will come back and
No problem.
sort all through that.
That'd be great, because that would help us with, millage rate going forward. We need to know what monies are in what bucket.
Yes.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions,
One card.
we do have a card, but thank you so much, Senator Bruzo.
Thank
You
you,
give us a sense of calm, and the fact that we are doing so well financially is a real boost to all the residents of this county.
Thank you, Senator,
you.
Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Senator. We have a card, and Commissioner Weiss, why don't you call the name?
Alexandria Larson.
I guess I'll come back next month when Joe will be explaining everything, because sometimes it's as clear as milk how funding is done. I do not understand investments. First one to tell you that, because we do, as per the press, they're saying that our property values went up 10% in Palm Beach County. Now, whether that's true or not, it might be a random number we just pulled out, but we do have a lot of money that we're dealing with. It's very hard to understand when all of our investments for many, many years were here, and then we went up to here in that chart. So I'll be glad to hear that presentation, Joe, because maybe I'll understand it like you. I'm questioning things just like you are, because when I see the numbers, I want to know how we got there. And I thank you for giving me the moment to ask the question. Thanks very
good.
much.
Always. Thank you, Ms. Larson. Okay. We need to have a motion to receive and file on this last issue. I have one from Commissioner Weiss.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Baxter. Are those for? Anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. Thank you so much, clerk and controllers and all those who work there. Thank you. All right, moving on now to, that would be 6C1. For the record, we're going to delete this for further review. Is that correct, Ms. Baker? Very good. Moving right along to the next page, which is 6C2, Facilities, Development and Operations. I'm going to recognize Commissioner Woodward at this time.
Thank you. Just personal privilege. I'd like to recognize Deputy Vice Mayor Rob Long from Delray Beach has joined us.
How did I notice him walking in? Thank you. Good to see you, Commissioner. Okay, we are ready for a presentation. So go right ahead, Ms. Colazo.
There we go. Ismi Ayala. Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. Ismi Ayala, Director of Facilities Development and Operations and Assistant County Administrator. With me today is Jennifer Cirillo, Director of Parks and Recreation Department, and also sitting at the table, Chief Assistant County Attorney Mike Jones, and Purvi Bogaira, Director of Property and Real Estate Management. Today, we have an item that recommends approval of Amendment Number 3 to the Construction Manager at Risk Services contract with Kaufman Lean Construction, establishing the guaranteed maximum price, or GMP, in the amount of $29,286,398 for the Canyon District Park Phase 2 project for a period of 548 calendar days from notice to proceed. This is a project that has come in front of the board's attention several times during the last year, most recently in December of 2023, when we obtained the board's approval to proceed with the project while we worked with the Office of Financial Management and Budget in closing the funding deficit that had been identified. So with that in mind, I don't know if this board would like a quick overview again of what the site plan includes, but
Let's see what the mood of the board is. We have it has been explained to us pretty comprehensively what is going on with the Canyon District Park Phase 2 project. Is there anyone on the board who would wish to have a more in-depth review of it at this time? All right, and is the board pretty much ready for a vote?
Mayor, since this is in your district, I'll make the motion.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I make the motion to approve 6C2.
And I have a second by Commissioner Bernard. All those for, anybody opposed, see that it passes unanimously 6-0. And I just want to say, wow, thank you so much. This is, if anybody does not live close to this park, this is an amazing place. And I want to thank Jennifer Cirillo for putting it together, and you, Ms. Colazo, for pushing it forward, because this is a star for our Palm Beach County. Thank you so much. It passes unanimously, and good luck for our next parks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to move right along to, should be 6.
C3, and Mayor, I'm happy
C3,
to
yes.
make the motion to approve 6C3 A and B.
Okay, now, just want to make sure that nobody wants to have a review of this at this time? No, seeing none? Okay, we have a first and a second. All those for, anybody opposes? See that it passes unanimously. We need a.
Mayor, may I be
commissioners,
recognized?
And we have it.
Who was the second?
Okay, 6-0, and we reached the 5 supermajority as required. So, moving right along to 6D1, Youth Services.
Mayor, I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay, I just want to make sure, does anybody wish to have, I see staff is moving slowly up the road.
I don't think we need a presentation.
Because would anybody like to have a staff report of 61 at this time? Seeing none, very good, stay right there. We have a first from Commissioner Baxter, a second by the Vice Mayor, and we have cards. So, we will have to have the cards, and then we'll have the vote. So, why don't you go ahead, Commissioner Weiss, and read the names?
Yeah. So if you'd like, we're getting ready to have a vote on this. If you want to just wave in support, or if you want to speak to us, that's at your option. First one is Glenn Mueller. Okay.
Wave in support. He waves in support.
Mary Beth Murdrick.
Wave in support. Beautiful.
Thank you. Megan Bobb.
Thank you.
Thank you. Benagina Electine.
Go for it.
All right, okay, good.
Donald McIntosh.
Wave in support.
Okay, Kathy Benson. Okay.
Good.
And then we have a couple of non-speaking cards. They They do not wish to speak, and they did not note whether they oppose or support. Jaleesa Huggins? Okay. Roxanne Jacobs? Okay, there you go.
Okay. And those are all the cards?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Weiss, very good. We're going to proceed to the final vote. All those for, anybody opposed, see that it passes unanimously 7-0. I want to thank all of you for coming here. This is a wonderful project that they're working on, and I appreciate the public coming and supporting. Your cards will be filed in the record, and thank you, staff, for all that you do for our people of Palm Beach. Thank you. All right. Moving right along to 6E1, Housing and Economic Development. Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. If the commissioners don't need a presentation, I'd like to make a motion to approve item 6E1.
This time. All right, before we go on, that the Vice Mayor has seconded the motion. Is there anybody here who would wish a presentation by staff at this time, since they got to their seat so quickly? I didn't notice that, Mr. Brown. So with that, we're ready for a vote. And this is for 6E1. All those for, anybody opposes, see that it passes unanimously. Very good work, all of you, on that item, 7-0. Now 6F1, Office of Equal Business Opportunity. And let me see.
I don't need a presentation.
Do we wish a presentation at this time? I see some of the commissioners saying no. So you can get comfort, but we're going to go ahead and vote. I see, Commissioner Bernard, did you wish to speak on this issue?
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve items 6F1A and B.
Second.
Very good. The clerk got that. All those for, anybody opposed, see that it passes unanimously, 7-0. Nice job. Good to see you, Chief. Okay, let's go on to office. Wait, no, that's fine. We voted on that. Moving right along to 6G1 on a conceptual approval for community services. And
Mayor, I'll make a motion if the board doesn't need a presentation.
right. Does anybody wish to have a presentation on this item? Seeing none, we have a first by the Vice Mayor Marino, and we have a second by Commissioner Barnett. All those for, anybody opposed, see that it passes unanimously. And let me just say, after our unanimous vote of approval, I want to thank you so much for what you did on June 24th. My colleagues, we had a presentation of all our community services there on June 24th for the mayors to see, and for the press and the media were present, and it is so impressive what we do for our community and our services that we help to fund through our county budget. So thank you so much, and we'll be hearing more from you, I'm sure, on this issue. Thank you. Okay. Now it looks like we are on 6H1. And we do have a card. Let me see, 6H1 is a revised motion. Do we have the card?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is on the budget, so you better get comfortable there. Good morning. You're recognized. Good morning. And you're recognized, Ms. Baker.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board, Good morning.
Good morning.
We are here to present to you and request that you approve the maximum millage rate. And we will start with the fact that during November 28th of 2023, we came to you with a capital workshop. You gave us directions. We took that information and included it in our overall proposed budget that you have today. We also held a budget retreat back in January of this year, and that retreat allowed us to provide you budget projections as well as you set your strategic priorities. And we built our budget based upon that information. And then we came back during the period of several months. We also had our larger departments come to this board, walk you through their particular budgets and answer any questions that you had on the larger budgets. We then also held our budget workshop on June 11th of this year. And then today, again, we're here for the proposed millage rates and public hearing dates. Our first public hearing date will be September 10th, and our second public hearing will be September 17th. Both of those are at 5:05 p.m. according to statute. And then millage rates that we're looking at today, we're holding constant all of our millage rates from the prior year. Countywide, 4.5 mills. Library is 0.5491. Fire rescue is 3.4581. Jupiter is 1.6488, and our aggregate millage rate is 6.2826. Countywide voted debt on our GO bonds, our voters voted for it, was 0.0396, and our library voted debt is 0.0098. Summary of our changes since we came to you in June. Our final values come in July 1st. We did receive those the end of last week. That's why we had the revised motion. But I had submitted to you in June a balanced budget. Between June 1st and July 1st, we received an additional $10.7 million in 24 additional property values, net statutory reserves. We had to pay an additional $199,051 to our CRAs. Theirs increased as well. We also, the board gave me directions to add to the BCC departments for housing and economic development positions to help with bond and all of the other programs we had added to the housing and economic development department that we had not funded. So included that, and then also to add external requests per the June 11th budget workshop, the things that I did not include, and we'll go over those toward the end. So once we deducted all of that from the 10.7 million, there was an increase. We put the remaining balance in the general fund reserve, which is $9.4 million. Just want to expand a little bit more on our ad valorem taxes and our millage rates. So based on fiscal year 24, we generated taxes in the general fund of $1,306,269,377. We're looking at a projection of $1,431,050,351 for 2025 out of taxes. So the change between fiscal year 24 and proposed 25 is $4,780,974, 9.6% increase. Our voted debt, $5.4 million in 2025. That increased to $12.6 million. We're looking at a change of roughly about $7 million, 130.8%. And then we can look at the millage rates. They have the general fund millage rate remained steady. The voted debt increased from 0.188 to 0.0396, and that is due to the housing bond. Our library taxes increased by 7.9 million from 24 to proposed 25, a 9.4% increase. The voted debt was decreased by 0.7, and the millage rate remained the same for the general library MSTU. The voted debt also decreased for libraries. And then we're looking at fire rescue main taxes. That difference between 24 actual and 2025 proposed increased by 38.1 million, a 9.4% increase, and the millage rate remained the same. Jupiter Fire increased by 102,000, 0.4% increase. Their millage rate decreased. Just want to talk about our GO bonds because we will have some falling off. Our general obligation countywide, our 28.7 million refunding bond series back in 2010, which was to refund our 03 and 05 recreation cultural facilities. That bond will be falling off July 1st of 2025. That will be paid in full. Our 28 million refunding bond series for 2014. That's the waterfront bond access. It was 50 million. That will be falling off August of 26. And then the most outstanding bond we will have countywide will be our housing bond. And that is projected to be, the maturity date is through 6/1/44. Our general obligation bond for the library will also fall off in August of 2025. So I do agree with the clerk. You have allowed us to manage an awesome budget where we don't have significant outstanding debt. We've been able to pay down our debt. We do believe in pay-as-you-go, but periodically we do have to issue bonds, and our housing bond was one of them. And as we continue to move forward, there may be a time we come to you to issue other additional bonds. We have identified some areas for our revenue bonds, which is different than our GO bonds. And those are our non-ad valorem bonds that we pay out of our resources coming in. Our history of changes in property values and millage rate, this is just historical information to reflect our percentage increase and decrease in property values. We are doing extremely well in property values here in Palm Beach County. We're not quite sure how long that will last. Hopefully we will never repeat what we saw in 09, 010. But it may be starting to level off, and I believe that our property appraiser shared that information with you at her last presentation as well. And then how we must adjust the millage in order to maintain a certain level of service that our residents expect here in Palm Beach County. I wanted to give you just an example of what the millage rate that today of $4.5 million does for a homesteaded property in the general fund. We're looking at, in this particular column, in fiscal year 2024, a median assessed value of $201,500. Homestead exemption applied, which was 50, so left with a median home value of $151,500. So we wanted to make sure that we kind of looked at and compared how our millage rate impacted homesteaded property. And so when you look at the total, we're looking at in 2024, the difference between that and the proposed values for 2025, we're looking at roughly about $30.59, 4.5% increase between those two dates. The millage rate impact difference, and these are just some other rates on different property values. Looking at $378,000 home, the difference between the two is roughly about $51.03. A $500,000 home, the difference will be $67.50, and $1 million home will be $135 between 24 and 25. For the future, we're looking at our maximum millage rate this fiscal year to maintain the current millage rate for all of our MSTUs as well as the general fund. we are looking at needing a supermajority vote to remain where we are today. However, based on projections in the out years for property values increasing roughly about 5%, 26 through 28, and the per capita Florida income changing per current state estimates, we simply look at a simple majority vote if we maintain the 4.5 in out years. During our June meeting, I did have items that were in external funding that was included in the budget I proposed to you, but we also had 3 others that I did not include because it would have been ad valorem impacted. So you gave me directions to include them in the budget. I have included them in what you have today. And so that includes the FAU Research Park, Health Technology, roughly about $75,000. The Business Development Board requested an increase roughly of $400,000. That is also included. And Let's Move American Heart Association was included at $250,000. And that is what's included in the budget packet that I submitted to you earlier. You also received our tentative budget July 2nd with all of the nitty-gritty details that's included in there. And that's my presentation at the moment, requesting your direction to approve the maximum millage rate. And I think we had a couple of other items giving permission to include our fund balance reserves to be rolled over into the budget as well. And those are items that you approved already, and we will not have expended all of the funds. It's primarily capital funds.
Very good.
That concludes my presentation, unless you have questions.
All right, thank you. Who has questions or comments on the presentation? Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Seeing no questions, I'd like to make.
Wait, hold on just one second. We have cards, but I know where you're going. So, are there any questions or comments before we go on to the cards and then the vote? Sir, Commissioner Barnett.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Baker, thank you for your report. At the last discussion we had, you mentioned that there would be a projected $3 or $4 million additional coming in. Are we still on track to receive that additional $3-4 million?
We actually received even more.
More than
We're
the
building. Those cranes are bringing it in. We actually increased, we received $10.7 million more. But I would strongly recommend we not get used to that type of increase because we haven't necessarily seen it consistently. Is roughly about $3 to $4 million between June and July.
Good. Very good. That's good news. Any other questions or comments before we go to for the cards? All right, Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Alexandria Larson.
I fell
You're
and screwed up my
recognized.
knee, so that's why I'm moving a little slower. I've been watching the meetings. If I can't get to them, I do try to watch them. And several things Joe sounded like he wanted us to hesitate because he's talking about 2035. Like we've got a bad rainbow out there somewhere that might burst here in Palm Beach County. Everywhere, you know? So that's the one thing that I'm worried about because when we asked for the millage rate, we asked for the highest one, but it can go down between now and September 17th, correct? Because we have some really big items that people were asking for. They want new buildings, new things. You know, we want shiny, sparkly things. And women, we're guilty of that. We like shiny, sparkly things. And everybody does. But I hope we're using a little bit of caution because we keep hearing that this might be bad out there later on. And I don't like the later on part because we didn't listen back in '06 when '08 was coming. You know what I mean? We did have people that were naysayers that things aren't good. So I'm worried about that coming again, Commissioners. So that's my one concern when I'm reading the agendas and I read it. I really do try to understand what they're saying in some of that minutia, but I hope we are a little bit cautious, just a little bit. Just hold our breath just a little. That's all I'm asking, because when the property appraiser wants a new building, the tax collector wants a new building, we all want new stuff. And even in the backup today, there was about, well, the new commissioners came in and the furniture was broken and we had to buy new stuff. And so here we are. I'm just be cautious, a little bit frugal, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Larson. All right, now we're ready for a board by the, vote by the board. Vice Mayor Marino, you're recognized first.
Thank you, and yes, this is to set the maximum millage rate, so we can adjust down as we see fit, if we do see fit at all. And I do agree that we just need to keep watching our pennies, and I appreciate the fact that we have $9.545 million that came in from the last discussion that we have put into reserves because we do have to deliver a balanced budget. So I am happy to, I know Mac was going to, go ahead, Mac, you make the motion and I'll second.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve item 6H1A, which is staff to submit proposed not to exceed millage rates for the fiscal year 2025 budget to the property appraisers as follows based on staff presentation. B, which is staff to submit to the property appraiser public hearing dates of Tuesday, September 10th, 2024 at 5:05 p.m. and Tuesday, September 17th, 2024 at 5:05 p.m. here in this commission chambers, and then also to approve items 6H1, C, and D.
Very good. And we have a second by the Vice Mayor. All those for, anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. Thank you so much for your work on this. Appreciate it.
I'd like
Thank you.
to thank staff for all the hard work and the analysis performed by our budget office.
They do work, yeah.
So thank you.
And thank you very much. Okay, moving right on to 7A1, and this is on housing and economic development. We have appointments of 2 nominees, and we have 3 nominations. So as we like to do, if there are any nominees who are present today, and if you would like to speak, they're not here. Well, let me just say this. This is a very important commission on affordable housing. And it is probably one of the most important commissions today when we look at what we are facing with our affordable housing crisis. And I am disappointed that the nominees are not here today. Let me say that publicly. Nobody asked me if they could be excused. And I don't know if any other commissioners have received any information about the nominees. Has anybody received any? Okay, we have 2. I have not. And I didn't receive it. And I think this is an important, very important commission to fill. So I don't know. I'd like to know the background of these nominees. Commissioner Weiss, you want to explain something to me?
Yeah, I would be happy to. Every office received paperwork on all of these nominees. We had an opportunity to review their backgrounds, review their resumes, and then if we were so inclined, we could sign the paperwork approving them or our nominations of them. So I'm not sure what happened in your office, but I know I received it, went through them all, and I would be honored to have any one of the 3 serve on this board.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak on this matter? My position has always been if somebody wants to be on a commission and they want us to vote on them, I'd like to see them present so I could ask questions of them so that it's public. Ms. Baker?
If it is the board's direction, what we will do as staff is if we're putting them on the agenda, make sure that they're aware of it and tell them that the board would like for them to be present. That hasn't been necessarily the case in the past.
I would, look, somebody doesn't have to come if they don't want to.
Okay.
But if they want to, I think that it should be a matter of good form to come before the Board of County Commissioners and present your background and present your policies and where you're from. And I know that some of you have received this information. Maybe I did receive it. I'm not saying I didn't, but I didn't read it and review it and see it in front of me. And this is a very important commission, especially now with affordable housing. So, Commissioner Baxter, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I was going to suggest if we want to take each name one at a time, but already looking at here, unless somebody has changed, there's 2 people that already have 4 nominations by commissioners, so that to me makes the most sense. But
No,
I
we're going
will-
to proceed with the vote, but I want it just known that anybody wants it, just to satisfy the mayors. I don't need to have everybody vote on it. I should certainly like to see people here, out of respect for the county and respect for the commission, to speak up and tell us why they want this particular position. So now you know, if anybody's listening to this, if they want, they better come on up. I want to see who they are. And I want to see them publicly. I don't need to see them in my office. So we're going to go ahead and proceed today. Commissioner Weiss, is that okay with you if we proceed?
It's okay with me to
Okay.
proceed, but I do want to say that I disagree with you that they need to be here in person. People have jobs, they have responsibilities, and they're willing to volunteer their time to serve their community. And we appoint literally hundreds, if not thousands of people to boards in this county, and to have them all come in here because there's a contested election, I think we're asking more than we would for. And I understand where you're coming from. I do, but I think to make them feel like they have not done enough by just simply raising their hands, standing up and saying they want to serve their community, that to me speaks volumes. And I just feel like it sounds like we're making these folks feel like they have somehow let us down, and they haven't. They've stepped forward to serve their community, and it's up to us to do the homework. And I've called folks to talk to them about their views on things, if I had concerns about them or questions. But I take it as my responsibility, not theirs.
Just so the record is correct, I didn't say anybody had to come. This is not a board vote where we say you have to come, nor is it any reflection on anybody's willingness to serve on a board. I'm just saying that this mayor on this board, which is affordable housing, which we have a staff that is working, I would say 6 days a week on this issue of affordable housing. We just got a United States Supreme Court hearing order on this the other day. Yes, this, in this mayor's opinion, nobody else's, is a very important commission. And yes, I like to see people in front of everybody tell us why they want to serve. And yes, this is more than just a little volunteer position. This is a tough position. We have Dr. Green working on Jonathan Brown. We have so many staff members work on affordable housing, and we've got some big issues on affordable housing. So this is something that's very important to this mayor. And that's just what I'm saying. Nobody has to. Oh boy, it makes a difference to me when somebody comes before this board out of respect and tells us why they want to serve on this particular board, which is so vitally and politically and socially important to the people of Palm Beach County today. So now you know where I stand on it. We're going to proceed and go along with the vote today. So what we're going to do, as we usually do, and I'm looking at the clerk, I think what we do is we call the names and we have a vote, and then that 2 persons who get the highest votes will fill those 2 positions. So we will start with the first one, which is Ashley Whidbey. And we can take a roll call vote at this time, Mr. Clerk.
Commissioner Barnett?
My apologies. Just for clarification, are you asking us to pick our two, or are you asking us to vote yes or no?
Let me
on
ask the
one at a
clerk,
time?
which is easier for recording the vote of the top two vote. Okay, so I see my attorney. How should we do this, Ms. Attorney?
It's probably best if you pick two, if everybody picks two.
Okay, so we do a roll call as we did before, and then you pick two names, and I guess the clerk will have the task of adding them up, and then we'll have the two nominees. Okay, very good. Go right ahead, clerk.
Commissioner Barnett?
Ashley Whidbey, Shirley Erazo.
Commissioner Baxter?
Ashley Whidbey and Shirley Erazo.
Commissioner Bernard?
Ashley Whidbey and Shirley Erazo.
Commissioner Weiss?
Ashley Whidbey and Shirley Erazo.
Commissioner Woodward?
Ashley Whidbey and Shirley Erazo.
Vice Mayor Marino?
Miss Whidbey and Miss Erazo.
Mayor Sachs?
Ashley Whidbey and Shirley Erazo.
7 Ashley Whidbey and 7 Shirley Erazo.
Very good. All right. Congratulations to those two nominees. They are now on the board of the Commission on Affordable Housing. Thank you very much. All right. Now we're going to recess as the Board of County Commissioners, and we are going to begin as the Board of our Environmental Control Board. And we're going to proceed on page 87 with the Health Department. So, that being said, do we have any, let me see now, we have staff recommends a motion to approve, and this is for, okay, so we should take a vote on B1A. And this is as the Environmental Control Board. So do we see a first? Yes, Vice Mayor.
So, Mayor, I will make a move that we appoint Jeffrey Duncan to the seat that is 7B1A, and we reappoint Trevor Rosencrans to the seat that is 7BB.
Madam Attorney, can we do both at the same time with the vote? Very good. And I'm looking for a second, and I see a second by Commissioner Weiss. All those for, anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously 7-0. And now we're going to adjourn as the Environmental Control Board, and we're going to reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners. Okay. Now we're looking for board appointments, and I'm going to start to my right. Commissioner Baxter, do you have any?
None at this time, Mayor.
Okay. Commissioner Bernard?
None, Madam Mayor.
Okay. And Commissioner Weiss?
None.
Commissioner Woodward?
Yes, I have Glenn Groman to Planning Commission.
Very good. We don't need to take a vote on this because these are uncommissioned districts, so we don't need to take a vote. Very good. Commissioner Barnett?
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to appoint James Borsos to the Personnel Appeals Board.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor Marino?
None at this time.
None. And the mayor has, I'd like to appoint Rob Long to the Tourist Development Board. So you can stand up, wave, and tell everybody you're here. And if you wish to say anything, you may address the board. I should call you council member, huh?
Commissioner, council member, whatever you want. Whatever.
Very good, Mr. Long.
Well, I'm glad I showed up. Boy.
Yeah, I am too. Very good. Go right ahead.
But anyway, I just wanted to thank you, Madam Mayor, and the commission. And Mayor Sachs, you're an icon in Palm Beach County, a paragon of selfless public service and integrity and leadership. So it's a true honor to be nominated by you for such an important board. Tourism is the lifeblood of Palm Beach County. And I'm very excited to work with county leaders all over the county and to be a voice for South County and support organizations like the Cultural Council and the Sports Commission. And thank you all for seeing fit. And thank you again, Mayor, for appointing me to this important board. And I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity, and it'll be a priority of mine to serve with integrity on this board.
Thank you so much, Mr. Long, and thank you for your continuous service for the county, for the city of Delray, and now on the Tourist Development Board,
Thank you.
sir.
It's my privilege.
Thank you, sir. Okay, moving on to commissioner comments, and we're going to start now to the left, which is Commissioner Barnett.
Mayor, may I be recognized?
Just remember, in your comments, you're going to receive and file this.
Yes, I got it. Sir?
I believe we have a motion to receive and file for administration.
Yes, I have them right here in front of me. So if I could have and everybody should have a copy of this. It's red and green, which is sort of easy to see. Are there any comments or anything about this? Right, seeing none, if I could have a receive and file on these boards and commissions assignments by District Commissioner of 2024. Very good. Seeing no issues with that, that will be received and filed. Is that fine, Mr. Clerk, or do we need a vote?
Could we restate the maker and the second?
Yes. If I could have a first by Commissioner Baxter, second by the Vice Mayor. All those for, nobody is opposed. See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. Continuing on with the comments, Commissioner Barnett.
Thank you, Mayor. My comments are a little long, but I'll try to be quick. I appreciate you, Todd Bonlaren and Stephanie Shanahan, for your report on human trafficking in the adult entertainment facilities and protecting our young people. Piggybacking on the work that you're doing, I wanted to make mention of the work that our office on the 12th floor has done. My staff, Laura Hanley, and our intern, Keeley, for working so diligently with many of our departments and outside agencies to create greater awareness of this crisis we're dealing with in Palm Beach County, adopting initiatives and preparing an awareness campaign. It couldn't come at a better time considering just what a serious problem this has become in Palm Beach County and in my district in particular. I did circulate a memo to the board with regards to initiatives that we would like staff to take up regarding this new awareness campaign for posting of signage in certain locations, Tri-Rail, the airport, many other locations. Also, we would need to know what the fiscal impact of this signage is going to be. If you could look into that as well and report back to our office and to the Board of County Commissioners. It's maybe a cost, but it's a cost that's probably going to be well worth incurring. Additional details with regards to the new directives, what we want staff and so many of our county boards to take up will be including creating a unified campaign on Channel 20, public service announcements, creating a full-blown awareness campaign that these organizations have agreed to participate in, and we've hosted roundtable discussions. Laura and Keeley, our office, Flight Center, Public Safety Department, Tri-Rail, the airports again, the Port of Palm Beach, even the school district. This has been an effort that encompasses so many areas of our county government and outside of county government, and it's absolutely necessary. It would also be an effort that incorporates a QR code into this signage that will allow people to download directly to their phones additional information and resources to be displayed on buses. I know you've already seen at rest stops, rest areas along the turnpike, similar signage. And we talked about the signage that was introduced and approved for adult establishments. This is just adding to the work that public safety has taken on. We also want to encourage our vendors to engage in the fight to end human trafficking on their end. Not only do we in the county require our employees, including every single one of us on the board, to participate and observe training, 40-minute trainings. We are looking to work with an organization that's called the Florida Alliance to End Human Trafficking. They have an hour-long training that goes over a variety of prevention and reporting techniques. You are very well aware, see something, say something. We want not only to encourage and require our county employees to view this hour-long additional training, which my staff has already observed, but we also would like those who work with the county to require their employees to watch and study this additional training so that we can create a whole new class of witnesses. And we have heard from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office Task Force that the best way to combat human trafficking is to create more witnesses within the county and those who do business with the county. Again, utilizing Channel 20 to record public services announcements. This is going to be a full court effort on behalf of the entire county, our office, the sheriff's office, and many different agencies within the government to continue to combat this crisis in our county. So if there's no objection to the board, from the board, I would like to direct staff to begin working on these initiatives.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
I don't believe I have any objections, but I think maybe if you can clarify, you were asking for businesses to have this training. Can you elaborate on exactly what you mean?
Right, absolutely. Any vendors who do business with the county, who have contracts with the county, we think there may be a utility in including a clause in those contracts requiring them.
Would it be all of their employees?
I guess that would be probably most appropriate. We require all of our employees in the county to undergo human trafficking training.
May I suggest before we move forward with that portion of it, that maybe you can convene some maybe the chambers and some of the other organizations, business community organizations, and just make sure that they've had an opportunity. If you're asking them to have each employee go through an hour's worth of training, they may have some comments about that.
I think that makes absolute sense. We don't want anyone to be overburdened if it becomes an extreme burden financial on these vendors, and to the point where it becomes financially unfeasible to engage in business with the county.
You might want to talk to them, and maybe there's.
Yeah, these are things that can be worked out. I would just want the staff to start looking into how to implement these initiatives
Ms. Baker?
in the way that works best for everyone.
Ms. Baker, you're recognized.
May I suggest that I get with you and that if we're going to do it for our vendors, that we work through our purchasing department to contact our vendors to get feedback so that I will have that information for you. And then suggest that they provide us what their options may be, because we just want to make sure that everybody countywide is aware of trafficking and see something, report something.
Right.
So I think there's a way to do it without making it mandatory. Maybe they put up signs in their workplace, et cetera, but that's information we can receive back from them.
Okay. Look forward to working with you on that. Absolutely.
Thank you, Ms. Baker.
Any vendor who cares about this issue as much as we do would probably gladly volunteer to work with us to find a way to help the county and participate in combating human trafficking. If a vendor's not willing to, then I don't know if that's a vendor we would want to work with anyways, but absolutely.
Commissioner Barnett?
I'm not done.
I mean, Commissioner Baxter, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
do you have a
sorry.
question?
Yes, there's a question, I'm sorry.
My question was more so because I do love the idea of putting out a human trafficking awareness. So thank you for bringing that, Commissioner. If we could just proceed with the rest of it, but leave the vendor part out for now? Is that a possibility? Well, the mandatory vendor part of it.
Leave it out?
Well, not leave it out, like have it come back later so that we can have more, you get a chance to talk to the chambers. You have a chance to talk to administrator, and our departments that would be in charge of, I believe it's SME's department that would be in charge of making sure that occurred, or another department, you know, with the vendors. Because I think, you know, to your point, we don't want to have an undue burden on all of our partners and find a way that maybe is less mandatory, or, I mean, that's cost too, to businesses. And not all of our vendors are large businesses. So I just don't want to put some undue financial burdens on them or time burdens. But to your point, I do think it is definitely an important topic that we should have a very large public awareness of.
And that's all I'm asking. I don't want to put this on the back burner to be forgotten. It should be definitely an item to be included in what we're discussing, at least for the purposes of finding a solution. That
Agreed,
works
which
for
is why I
everyone.
think everything, you know, it sounds like the only part we're not comfortable with might be that particular part. So if we can move forward with the rest of it and have that at least as a conversation to come back for another day.
Is that the consensus of the board?
It's
If
up
No,
so,
I think we're, right, at this point, Commissioner Barnett is bringing forward a policy, and I think we all should have the opportunity to discuss it. And then at some point, we'll have, if necessary, we'll agree on one policy or not, or suggestions on it, but this is a discussion. It's your comments. You go right ahead, Commissioner Barnett, if
Thank
you have
Mayor.
other
Thank you,
issues on
Commissioner
it.
Baxter.
Sure.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Just one last item.
You go right ahead, Commissioner.
with
These are
human trafficking.
comments. Sure.
We're going to be having a conversation on homelessness and specifically HB 1365 at the, I think, September workshop. I was wondering, as this law takes effect October 1st, we could bump up that discussion to the September workshop. And maybe flesh out ideas on how to respond to the implementation of this law, maybe come up with solutions on how to find solutions to any problems that may arise from this legislation.
And tell us specifically which law you're referring to.
It's HB 1365. It's the, we discussed this at the, I think it was the last workshop with regards to homeless encampments.
Correct, right. Let's take your first issue first, if we could. And that issue is with regard to any vendor wanting to do business or doing business with the county needs to have a policy with regard to human trafficking with their employees. Is that?
Yes. We're moving on the rest of the items that I discussed and not tabling that portion, but bringing it back to discuss.
I think
flesh out at a
I
later
have
date.
to say something about that because I applaud you. This is an issue that has hit this county strong. We are one of the largest counties to have issues of human trafficking. Number one is Orlando. Number two is it's Palm Beach County. And people think it's Miami. It's not. It's our county's number two. So I think that this is an issue that we need to address, and I applaud you, Commissioner Barnett, for bringing it up. I think that we will discuss it some more with regard to the vendors, but my position is that if someone is going to do business with us and will be paid money from the taxpayers, that they need to have a policy that they sign. They could sign a document that says that they know that they are not employing any victims of human trafficking. And I don't see any issue with that, especially if they're going to do business with the county. I mean, I think that it's almost pro forma that we should have that. And so we can discuss this a little in greater depth with the administrator and with our county attorney. But I applaud you for bringing that up because I think it's a very important thing to do.
I give the credit to my staff. They worked
your
very
staff?
hard.
Thank you, staff.
For many months, and I appreciate your kind words, Mayor. The only other issue I wanted to bring up is a separate issue. With
And this
regards
is
to-
with the public camping. This is
Exactly.
1365 HB, which takes effect October 1st, and then we are subject to lawsuits January 1st, 2025. And absolutely, I think that if it's okay with Ms. Baker, if we could put this on an agenda before, too close to October 1st, I would certainly not see any reason why we couldn't do that. It depends on Ms. Baker's recommendation. What do you think?
Possible to bring this up at the August workshop?
I think it's, you know, we'll.
I will do my very best. People are, kind of on vacation, and they had scheduled it for September, but I will work with staff and try to bring it
I think
to
that's a
the
good
August
point too,
meeting.
Ms. Baker, because this thing's going to go down October 1st.
And my thinking is in September, we're going to be up to our necks in budget issues. And
That's for sure. So, does anybody have any issue against having this fast-tracked before it takes effect? Very good. Okay, so then it's up to the county administrator, whether we could put it a little bit. Thank you again, Commissioner Barnett.
thank you. I just wanted to say happy 4th of July to everyone. I hope you have a wonderful holiday, and congratulations to the Florida Panthers. I'm not a hockey fan, but I think this is very important for South Florida.
Yes.
Not just Broward County, but all of Palm Beach County.
It is
Dade
Florida
and Broward.
Panthers, right. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Commissioner Barnett. Okay, Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to wish everyone a safe and happy 4th of July. I will be attending Boynton Beach's fireworks celebration this year, although I may not stay for the fireworks because I have a scared puppy at home now. So, but I will be attending at least the beginning part of it. Hope everyone has a good vacation.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you, Mayor. Number one, I need to, under board appointments, I was not advised I had an appointment, but I do. I need to reappoint Jim Mostad to the Tourist Development Council. And then I'm requesting an off-site proclamation for Plastic-Free July.
Very good. I think we need to vote on this. Plastic-free July? Yes, we do, and we have one. Very good, Commissioner Baxter. And we have a second by Commissioner Woodward. All those for, anybody opposed, either passes unanimously. Thank you, Commissioner.
And I'd like to wish everybody a very happy 4th of July, and but also remind people, if you do have pets, you should bring them inside. Unfortunately, a lot of pets get stressed when they hear the noise. They run, and we end up people lose a lot of their furry friends during this time. So ask everybody to please be thoughtful, bring your animals inside, and keep them safe during the fireworks shows.
Thank you, Commissioner Weiss. Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Commissioner Weiss just, wished everybody a happy Independence Day. And, as we're celebrating Independence Day, we're celebrating 248 years of independence since the adoption of the Declaration of Independence. This past week, I had the ability to travel to Israel, and it's been 76 years for their independence, and just traveling through the region, and since what's happened on October 7th, there is a price for independence. And I've, went to the cemetery to witness 19-year-old kids, 20-year-old kids, 21-year-old kids who have died since October 7th fighting for their independence. So as we're celebrating Independence Day here, I just want us to continue to consider that independence is not free. Someone's fighting for it. And although, we're in 248 years, but continue to support Israel in their independence and their fight right now. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Bernard. And Commissioner Baxter.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to wish everyone a happy 4th of July. Independence Day is one of my favorite holidays. I would also like to congratulate the Florida Panthers for winning their very first championship. What an amazing game, guys. And I cannot wait. I've asked Todd if he would help try to bring the Stanley Cup to our chambers. So no pressure, Todd, but I'm looking forward to you making that happen. And lastly, I did send out a memo and was placed a physical copy on everyone's desk. We have, some things we discuss quite frequently: cost of living, inflation, prices of everything going up, and sometimes it's hard to understand what people are going through. And one of the biggest reasons that I believe as commissioners are successful in helping our constituents is because our offices and their staff, and I can't tell you how important staff is. We've recently had a huge amount of senior staff retire. So I believe we are in now a unique position in Palm Beach County to try to change a couple things without hurting some people, but also did some research. So the Economic Council, I asked them to look into comparing our staff salary wages with, and the closest thing we could find were executive assistants, essentially, because our staff has to know every department. They have to be, pretty much called nights, days, weekends. So they do a fantastic job. They work a lot of hours. And even at the national average, which I have put in here, they're really underpaid for what they do. And so I have brought to the board, I thought, 2 potential options because I heard prior arguments, which you should now have the second page to. And it was emailed. So one of 2 options is to keep everyone's titles the same and keep the ranges the same, but give us the ability to decide at our discretion based on merit. We even have an attorney, from what I understand, working for one of the commissioners, who had to start at the lowest possible end of that range. I think we should be able to decide within ranges what that value adds to our office. The option 2 was to switch to 2. We have always seemed to have in every office a senior aide that takes that lead. And that person who takes that lead seems to keep everything organized. They keep everything running smoothly. So one of the things is maybe if we wanted to create an official title for them. But overall, in order to be competitive and get the best employees for our offices, we can't be underpaying them. We're at a huge disadvantage in the market. We, according to the numbers, and the study was done, we only have, 1,579 people that could even potentially in the county currently be qualified for this job versus other places that have, roughly other counties that are smaller than us, 2,189 employees. National average, 70,000 a year. They're making almost 15,000 less. We have, it just seems to be a huge problem. And now that we have a lot of senior staff that is left, I also think that if we do give any kind of raise, they should not partake in whatever percentage increase we give at the end of this year, because they would have already received an increase. To try to offset that. And that's the 2 options that I thought some people don't want to decide. Some people like a standard, but the standard being, of a different pay grade than what it currently is. Also, I've attached the current policy that should be under the memos and the study from the Economic Council that shows the numbers I've discussed. But I would like to hear what my board thinks in regards to this.
Very good. Thank you so much. Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Commissioner, for your research and the work you did on this. Very much appreciate it. This isn't something I'm going to be able to support today. I think that when we're looking at the national average is $70,000, but I don't believe that's a starting position. I know that once a person has been in the system here in the county after on their 5th year, they go up to an EO1, which would bring them above the national average. I believe we're also giving everybody this year across the board, if the budget goes through as proposed, would be a 6% pay increase in addition to the 6% we gave last year as well. I have to say, it also causes I have other concerns then about parity with other offices. I have concerns about, I think also, when you look at the entire package, the rest of the world, other than government, does not offer pensions. I think you need to really look at what the total compensation is. I think that would be, when you look at what government offers in terms of stability, that is not normal in the non-government world. I just, at this point, I mean, if you were looking to raise salaries, I think we need to understand everybody, every other administrative assistant, why their jobs would not be the same, what that cost would be. But I think it's a much, to me, it's not something I want staff spending time on right now. I think we have bigger issues. And I was able to hire somebody in my office this past fall. And I have to say, I believe I have quality staff in my office. I understand your concern, but it's not something I can support.
Thank you. Commissioner Bernard, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Commissioner Baxter, thank you for bringing this issue up. I look at the two options that you provided to us. For me, just looking at option one, I've always have an issue in terms of commissioners kind of like deciding on the different ranges, because I always think that that can create some problems for us in terms of from an HR perspective. But in regards to option two, that's something that I can support, and just would love to flush it out, but that's what I would support. Thank you very much.
Very good. Vice Mayor Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you, and thank you, Commissioner Baxter, for bringing this up. I think this has been an ongoing topic, and what I would actually, I don't think this is something we can decide today, but I think the discussion is worth having, and getting some numbers might be worth having. But I do see a change in our offices. I do see us being able to have a designated chief of staff. I do see us having a deputy chief of staff, and I see us having an administrative assistant or an aide. And I think that the delineations are important, and I think a salary should be equivalent to that. I don't want to have a competitive disadvantage. I don't want people that have been here, that if we change it in one particular manner, they actually get hurt, because they may come January or February or their anniversary date be moving up, and I think the second one, it was without including. Let's see. Right, EO1 and EO2. I don't want it to be there to be a disadvantage, and I don't want. I think if we're doing this, we should have some qualifications for everyone. But I think the discussion is worth having, and it's probably worth having now because of our budget coming. So at this time, I think we can agree that we can have a discussion on this. I'm not so sure we should say yes or no as to what our option might be today, but I'd love to hear what other commissioners have to say.
I'd like to thank you, Commissioner, for bringing this up. And I've noted that this is an issue that has been plaguing you for a while. And I can see that you have 3 offices. You probably have the largest geographic district of all 7 of us. I think we all have 2 offices. No, some of us have one. Oh, my goodness. Just 1 office. Right. So, see, I learned something new today. So we have 1, 2, 3 commissioners who have 1 office.
2.
And you have 2 offices? Okay. So the bottom line is this: you have 3. I don't think anybody else has 3 offices. And in the state legislature, the number of employees, the staff that you had was commensurate with your geographic area and how many offices you have. And this has been an issue you've brought up before. And I'd like to know that every commissioner here has good staff, good furniture, everything is fine. So I think that this is certainly an issue we need to bring up again. And especially, Ms. Baker, with the idea that we're going through budget, I think it is an issue that we should certainly discuss. Because even taking care of 3 offices in the geographic area that you have may warrant a second look at your particular office as requiring more than one for the office. Now we have 3 members of our staff, and it may be that we'll take a look at that district at that time. So I agree with my fellow commissioners in terms of reviewing this at a later date when we're looking at the budget. So if we could do that, Ms. Baker.
She doesn't know what the direction is.
If we could, is that what you would like us to do, Commissioner Baxter?
I would like to hear from the other 2 first, but yes, I am not opposed to bringing it back and just kind of hear some thoughts of where they stand. If they have a preference of which way to head on 1 or 2, what they like, what they don't like, so that when we do come back, we know so we can give our administrator more of a direction moving forward.
I would only say that, excuse me, Mayor, if we had to choose between the 2 options, I think the option 1 presents more flexibility and seems a little more attractive, but I agree. I don't think this is something we can vote on today or decide today. We need a little more time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else wishes to opine on this?
Mr.
Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just need more information. Even talking EO1, EO2, I'm not sure where we are in all of this, where we are as the 7 members of this board, where we are as in what our budget was compared to what has come. As you said, we've had a number of long-term staffers on the floor who have recently left. So I would like to know the fiscal impact of what we're talking about, and also what that means moving forward, not just in the current year, but what that would do forward. So I would definitely need more information on the numbers.
Vice Mayor Marino.
Again, I do like the revisiting this, but I do think it would be important too that we actually talk about. Ms. Larson, please. I do think it's important that we actually do talk about positions. And the reason I say the titles, because we want to be able to build people and grow people. And while administrative assistant is what their title is here, when they go out to the workforce and someone sees administrative assistant, even though they've done chief of staff work, they're going to be looked at as an administrative assistant as opposed to a chief of staff. So I think if we actually could do something like a chief of staff, a deputy chief of staff, and a commission assistant, I think it would be good for the opportunity for people to move on, because we don't want to pigeonhole anybody in a particular position, and we hope that we're not resume builders for people. We hope that we're building an environment where people want to stay, because then we have continuity and we have history. And I am one of those people that lost a long-term staffer along with the mayor, who'd been here 27 years. So a lot of history walked out the door, and a relatively large salary went out the door too, which has been budgeted for year after year after year. And my office has operated with probably an average of 2.5 people for the 4 years that I've been in office. And I know you've all heard me say that before, but again, I don't want there to be a competitive disadvantage. I think people should be in these positions because they see opportunity, and I think an appropriate title would be important for that going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Bernard?
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I do agree with Vice Mayor Marino that having the appropriate titles would be very, very important, and I'd love for us to, classify, hey, a commission chief of staff, and I'd love for us to move away from the administrative assistants, if it's possible to title them more like legislative aid, because then when there are terms when we leave, the staff members will be more marketable in the future. So if we can do that, I think that would be better for our staff for the future.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Baxter, did you want to put something on the floor that we can take take direction at?
I didn't have an overall one way or the other. I think I do support, I like the idea of the chief of staff, because we do know that there's always that person who kind of takes that lead role. I do like the deputy chief. I'm not sure if you wanted to have 2 deputies or if we wanted like a third aide or so to make that an aide position. But I like that idea. And then the idea, if, people aren't looking at flexibility as far as what we can pay, because I do like flexibility. I mean, at the end of the day, if you make somebody an offer, and you know this, even our directors, have the ability with some flexibility to make a negotiation more to
favorable.
counter or keep. I lost a staff member recently because they were hired at the private sector, and I was helpless to do anything about it. I couldn't even offer him $1 to stay because we didn't have any flexibility. So that's where, I'm concerned with having zero flexibility, but they definitely should come in a little bit. We should take a look at the numbers.
What would you like us to do?
I would like to bring back, let's see what budgets were, what they would be, and the range, right? Like if we went high, low, and how it would impact, to Commissioner Woodward's point, the fiscal impacts of it. And just, when we're talking about these, please realize that, yes, we have great benefits, but that doesn't put money in the bank for rent. It doesn't put money in the bank for food. It doesn't put money, on other necessities that have all recently drastically increased.
You don't have your comments yet. Okay, thank you very much. So should we, and I'm looking at Ms. Baker, should we have a discussion on these issues that were presented just a few minutes ago at a budget hearing? Commissioner Bernard, you have something to say?
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Just based on the discussions, in regards to option 1 or 2, it doesn't really matter. I just think that whatever that we can work with as a board that we feel that that's best for moving forward is what I would support.
Very good. Ms. Baker.
What I heard was that you're looking at either option 1 or 2 or change in title. So that's 3 options I can bring back. The change in title, that's clearly up to the board. We can call them whatever you'd like. What I would suggest is that we then come up with a job description. Now, in the past, boards have moved away from job descriptions because it limits who they bring in. And so that is why you have what you have today. But if we're going to change the titles, I will work with my staff to do the appropriate research, come back with some particular job descriptions that you can consider, and then you will tell me what you want. We'll also look at possibly no fiscal impact with the title change. We can look at the title change with the commissioners making the decision on who gets what, which is option 1. And then option 2, we can do the title change and associate them with what is proposed for the EO1 and the EO2. So I can bring those back with the appropriate salary ranges associated with them. And then you can give me your direction. I do want to say that we're all struggling. I'm struggling with the 7,000 positions I have and having to increase. We have never been able to compete with the private sector. That is not what we normally do with our positions. Our engineering as well as our planning positions is a struggle because I'm a training ground, and then they leave us and they go to the private sector. We really want them to stay with us. But I also know we work for government, and that government, we have other benefits that the private sector does not have. And when we're selling these positions to people we're trying to recruit, we do point out that our benefits are anywhere a little over 30% of the salary associated with what we're offering them. And yes, we do have some flexibility because it's tight out there, and department heads can offer up to 10% over the minimum. Anything over that has to come to me for signature. I am very careful about that because it upsets the apple cart when you hire in too far above where your normal, the people that have been here and has the experience, et cetera. So all of that plays a role, and that is something that this board, when it gives the flexibility, you can tell me what you want to do. But I just want to point out that it's not just the 12th floor employees, but it is also my 7,000 plus positions. And I'm losing people. They're going to other cities, smaller cities, doing the same type of work with less volume. I believe I have the best staff. It is. We're constantly looking at how we can better train. Training is offered, tuition reimbursement. So there are a number of things that help facilitate the staff salary. But again, we cannot compete with the private sector. I don't think our residents would be real happy with our budgets if we tried to compete with the private sector. There are things we need to do, and we do comparables compared to other governmental entities. So we'll do that research for you as well.
Thank you. And Ms. Baker, if we could just, unless anybody wants to expand it, if we could just narrow this down. This has been an issue that Commissioner Baxter has brought up for over a year. And I'm just looking at the way the state handles legislative aids. And again, we're all equal in terms of the number of aides we have, but we're not all equal when it comes to the number of offices or a geographic area that we cover, I'm sorry?
When we do the reapportionment, the law requires you have about equal number of population that you serve.
And I am very much aware of that, but when it comes to having a meeting with constituents and you're driving 50 miles to get to that meeting and then 50 miles back, sometimes it's difficult on staffers. So I think that I'd like to, if we could, just limit this initial discussion for county commission staff. Then we can open it up, and I'd like to also open it up at that time to engineers and all I see in Channel 20 is how many employment opportunities we have here. But I'd also like to bring in our technology department in terms of how we can better serve our constituents with AI and technology to streamline what we do. But first, if we could just limit this discussion to this issue that has come up time and time again, and that is staffing for our county offices. I would appreciate it, just that narrow one right there. Okay, we have Commissioner Weiss, and we're going to close with Commissioner Baxter.
Thank you, Mayor. When you bring this back, can you also bring back fully burdened costs? Fully burdened costs. Yeah.
Who's that? What's that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
And then also comparison of time off, so sick time, vacation, and then I guess, and depending on how you run your office, in that you can't bring back, but I mean the flexibility that we offer our staff. So, but you can't bring that back. That'll be something we bring back.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Baxter, you're recognized to close.
Because we are in the middle of budgeting, and this is kind of the time, I mean, I don't want to also overburden this with so much information. I have to say, like, whether it's sick time, vacation time, whatever you want to say, at the end of the day, the whole point I am trying to make is people are having problems surviving. They're having problems living day to day. An extra sick day doesn't help that. So, I mean, we can look at that if that is the will, but I mean, it's just going to show a higher number, but not relevant to, I think, the problem that people are having, and including staff. So we can. I would also like, if we're looking at new titles, I'd like to, if we're going to compare those to other positions, and what do they, if there's a chief of staff, you know, like the Economic Council put together, what do other chief of staffs make? Let's do the one-to-one comparison. Let's look at what other deputy chief of staffs make, you know, and see how that plays out. And I would like to ask, what would be a timeline within this cycle that you think this would come back to us, Administrator?
I will get staff started on this immediately, because if we're going to make some modifications, I'd like to go ahead and put it in the budget, if that's possible. But that's not a break deal, because I can always move funds out of the general fund contingency after the budget. So it won't necessarily hold it up, but I would like to roll it in if the board's going to allow us to do it. So it may be August.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you. I did want to add one concern to this. If we are moving with title descriptions or any of this, does it put limitations on us as far as must have a college degree, must have X number of experience, must have any of these things, or do we still have full discretion? I would like to know.
That is where it gets tricky, Commissioner. The board staffing is by ordinance, and it's really going to be up to you. My EO1s and EO2s, they all have requirements, degrees, blah, blah, blah. If you follow that logic, yes, it will restrict you. If you write descriptions and you want it to be across the board on the 12th floor, nowhere else, then you'll be bound by those descriptions. If you want to hire who you want to hire, then the job description is going to be a bit more general. So it just depends on how you want to write and select it. I do know, I did speak with someone on the 12th floor. They were a bit concerned with the job title and the not enough job description. So in case they left, what do they fall back on? So it's just a matter of the direction that you give me. That's what we'll bring back to you.
Good point. Thank you, Commissioner. All right, Commissioner Baxter, and then.
Oh, well, the county attorney was saying something, and then I'll go afterwards.
I was just saying, you don't have to have a job description, or you can write a job description that is tailored and unique to what you do and what you're asking this person to do. So it can be different from a standard EO1 or EO2 job description.
Very good.
I thought I made that perfectly clear.
You did. At the end,
However, I want to say that if you do a job description unique to the 12th floor, and you tie it to a job description and the title, then you will be, I want to be really clear, you're going to be limited if somebody challenges you. So if you want full flexibility, then it will be more general in the job description, and that is something we can work with you on.
Thank you. Sure, Commissioner Woodward, sure.
Each of us runs our offices differently. We have different requirements, and some of us may micromanage, some of us are completely hands-off, whatever. I would prefer the most flexibility in who we hire and how we run our offices. So keeping it very general, and even, I don't want to be tied to having to have, a bachelor's degree or having to have X number of years of experience. I think, it's a small office, and I would like the most flexibility with it.
I'm not sure that you have to have a job description at all, but we'll have some discussions about that with HR.
I have a question to the attorney. In the county, does the staff work at the will of the commissioner, or is the staff who are legislative aides, not legislative aides, they're administrative aides, not legislative aides, are they staff to the county?
They are staff to the commissioner.
So
you are unique.
Bill. Okay.
Yes, and that's
This is the same in the state legislature.
And that's why I'm a little hesitant on a job description. You all operate differently.
Good, I like that. So we can, so that our staff works for us.
Correct.
And at will of the commissioner.
That's correct.
Not necessarily of the county.
That's correct.
Okay, so then we should be very much a part of this, Ms. Baker, in terms of how we like to run our office.
You're going to give me the
Right. And we may also entertain, and I'm just thinking about having, and this was brought up, I think, by Commissioner Baxter months ago, having a sum of money that we can designate as we wish for the various staff members that work in our offices at will. This may just be something to be brought up. I don't want to have it open for discussion at this time. But I think this is an excellent discussion to have. Thank you so much. And Commissioner Barnett, and then Baxter.
Thank you, Mayor. Just for my own clarification, I think we had this conversation a year ago or so.
Yes, we did.
This was brought up as to whether commission assistants worked for the commissioner or for the county. My understanding is, as you said, Denise, they work for the commissioner, but they are county employees?
Of course. Right.
They're really commissioner employees, but they get the county benefits. That's the way we have it set up.
Okay, because I did hire 2 county employees within the last year or so to come work in my office.
Right.
If they decide, and one county assistant did go to work for another department within the county from my office.
Right.
So.
Well, that's fine. There's no problem with that. And one of the things you might do if you set up a new classification for, a chief of staff, a deputy chief of staff, a legislative aide, is that you don't have to put them in the E1, EO2. You can make your own classification. Exactly, so that's not a problem with other EO1s, EO2s in the county.
So it won't cause a problem for them if they decide they want to go work in another county department?
No, they still get credit. That's just a policy that we have. We give them credit for having worked for you, and that's not a
So
problem.
that's, again, under experience. And what we have to do is they have to compete for the job. So
Yes.
it's not as though we will just create a job for
That's
them.
correct.
But because they've been on the 12th floor, that's a plus because they
Right,
bring
their
that
experience
experience to the county, so they'll be fine.
Okay. Commissioner Baxter.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to, this will probably be my last comment. I do like the idea of flexibility, so I do agree. I don't want a job title. I think it does limit who we can bring in, but or not title, I said the wrong word, description. Title, yes, description. I don't want to be limited on who we can bring in, for sure. I do like the idea of creating maybe even our own categories so that it isn't as controversial as, well, this classification makes this and this classification makes that. But, at the same time, we have these things and people, again, I said it in my memo, resist change. But if we're going to look at flexibility versus, I lean always towards flexibility. So I would love to see what you bring back to us. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Commissioner Baxter. Vice Mayor Marino, comments?
Wow.
I know. Did you forget?
Yeah, I forgot I had comments. Actually, I just want to say thank you to many of our staff who put together a wonderful effort in my effort to become FAC second VP. You went above and beyond. You manned the desk. You were there. You were smiling. I do appreciate it. I appreciate the commissioners that stayed to Friday to vote. Unfortunately, large counties seem to get the small end of the deal when you've got all the small county coalitions that actually don't have much to do on Friday, so they stay all day. I would like to see some change at FAC about that, and that'll be a discussion that I have in the future. But again, a really heartfelt thank you to all of the staff that came, that made an effort, and my fellow commissioners who were able to stay till Friday. So with that, I say thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. And my comments is I'm real proud of you, Vice Mayor Marino. You gave it, you showed to 66 other counties how we roll. You gave an incredible speech. We were all there as one team, PBC, and we not only supported your policies, but we supported you. And I think that this is the beginning of your political career, hopefully in the FAC, because we need your voice, and we need our voice heard there through your efforts and your leadership. Thank you very much. I want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July, and I'll be at the South County Park My dogs will be inside with very loud music going on, a little Motown maybe, and it'll distract them from the 4th of July fireworks. But I invite everybody to come out to, Jennifer is here, and thank you, Jennifer Cirillo, for making our parks so accessible for our 4th of July celebrations. And with that, before I say we're adjourned, don't forget, we're coming back at 2 o'clock, right here, same time, same place. We are adjourned as a
Mayor,
county.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Mayor, we need to receive and file the directives. We didn't do that. So
I'll make a motion, we receive and file.
Seconded by the first by the Vice Mayor, second by Commissioner Weiss. All those for, nobody's opposed. See that it passes unanimously.
And my second is I sent out an email to you last night or late yesterday afternoon regarding the ratification of our CJC, our Criminal Justice Commission, Executive Director, and I see that she is here with us, sitting next to Todd. That's Ms. Angelique Pickett, Executive Director. I did send their resumes, her resume, and as you know, the CJC, that particular position reports to the CJC, but also reports to me, so it's this way. It was a very public meeting and interviewing process, and she rose to the top. We are excited about selecting her, and I am bringing her forward for ratification by the board.
Good, then we need to take a vote on that. I have a first by Commissioner Barnett, a second by the Vice Mayor. Are those for? Anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously. Congratulations. It's a very good commission. Thank you. Anything else, Ms. Baker?
I have a second one. We've been working. This one's a bit emotional for me, but as you know, we lost Clinton Forbes, our director of PalmTran, and it took a minute to start recruiting and to fill that position. But we found another outstanding gentleman that will do an excellent job for us. His name is Mr. Ivan Maldonado, and he is has extensive experience. He is currently the Deputy Executive Director of Omaha Regional Transit Authority, which is a larger authority, but he was also the previous Executive Director for the Star Metro in great old Tallahassee. So he's done an excellent job. He's been with Hillsborough County along with Washington, D.C. Metro. He is not here today. He's back in Omaha trying to sell his home if you ratify his appointment. So I'm also asking you to ratify our new PalmTran. He did meet with our unions. He met with the staff. And we believe that he's going to be an excellent choice for us.
Very good, thank you. Do we have a first by Commissioner Weiss, a second by Commissioner Woodward? All those for? Anybody opposed? See that he passes unanimously.
Thank you very, very.
Anything else, Ms. Baker? Anything else? You really? Oh.
One last thing. I don't market what our staff does. I don't market very well what we do for you. However, I am extremely proud to announce our 2024 NACO Awards. Palm Beach County did receive 24 of them. PalmTran, working with our Cultural Council, received our Cultural Heritage and Inclusion buses. So we put their things on the inside of the buses and they wrapped a few. Our Youth Services, Children and Youth, we won the award for Psychological Evaluation Extension Program, where we work very closely with our university, FAU. We have an official memorandum of agreement, and their psychologists come through the county for their internship, et cetera, working on their PhD. And a few of them, we have put enough sand in their shoes, they stay with us. And so we're growing our own here in Palm Beach County. County Resiliency, Infrastructure, Energy, and Sustainability won 3 awards in that particular one: Invasive Plant Management, Lake Worth Lagoon Restoration at Tarpon Cove, and then Loxahatchee Slough Restoration. So your support for these programs have definitely taken us to the next level. OFB Financial Management, we received the award for optimizing financial efficiency through artificial intelligence and automation in Palm Beach County. That was the first level, and yes, we will continue to improve in that area as well, but we did receive recognition for it. Community Services Health, improving health and ending HIV epidemic through the tele-adherence counseling program in Palm Beach County, Florida, so we were recognized. And ISS, our information and technology, along with strategic planning, won a number of awards, like 10. With our survey that you directed us to develop, we did. We were very successful in getting a high return on that survey, so we were recognized as such. Dealing with our damage assessment manager portal, along with community services resource and referral portal, consumer affairs field monitoring, county attorney legal assistant portal, facilities development and operations card tracking, fixed assets tracking, property appraiser GIS base map technical refresh, the Virgin Islands complaint track application, and then water utilities, IVR integration. Parks and Rec Blind Sports Day, where we are trying to be very sensitive to our residents that have disabilities, and so we've created that particular program and was recognized as such. Human Resources, Personnel Management, Employee and Training, Frontline Worker Recruitment Campaign. Leilani worked that program up for us, and her last day was Friday. So she is retiring after 30, or retired after 30 years. She's that voice you hear on Channel 20 and sometimes on our voice message. So we do wish her well in retirement. She has served this county exceptionally well. And then Healthy Holidays Employee Wellness Challenge. During the holidays, our health department, our group health department, working with our private sector group, actually put a challenge forward to help people maintain weight during the holidays, so we were recognized as such. And so I just wanted to share that with you and to thank our staff for their dedication and creativity. So thank you. And then the last is Happy 4th.
That's okay,
Be safe.
that's fine.
That's it.
That's it? Oh, okay. Very good. Then I think we are officially adjourned. Thank you. See you at 2.